right, we are live again for the second time in this week, I guess. And I don't know, it was fun last time. I figured I'd do it again. There's some stuff I want to talk about, and then I'll take callers from the Telegram chat that I'm in right now, and we'll see how it goes. But the main thing I wanted to talk about was I wanted to go over the Nick Fuentes being on Elijah Schaffer's stream the other day, which I think was awesome. At first, everybody was making a big deal about it, and I didn't really understand why because he's been on Elijah Schaffer's show before, like a while ago. But I guess that it makes sense because when the last time he was on the show, it was before he was banned from everything. It was before he was on the no-fly list. It was before all this crazy stuff happened with Nick Fuentes. So him bringing him on now when he's like really popular, he has like 300,000 subscribers or something. That does take some courage. So it was pretty cool because there's a lot of negative things that get said about Elijah Schaffer, like he's a California conservative, and he's basically a normie. He's on Blaze TV and stuff like that. So the fact that he was willing to take Nick Fuentes on his show shows a lot of courage because he's risking getting banned, like pretty much everybody else who associates with Nick Fuentes. So the way that I see this, like besides the content was great, Nick Fuentes explained himself really well, and all the comments were very white pilling because you had all these like boomers and normie cons and stuff like that commenting, saying like, "Oh, I heard about this guy. Wasn't he like a neo-Nazi or something?" And he sounds like a normal guy to me. So he's basically getting his message out to a more moderate audience, but a larger audience. And what I see coming from this is either if Elijah doesn't get banned from everything because he had Nick Fuentes on, then that's going to open up more opportunities for Nick Fuentes to go on other streams and other platforms and spread his message to a larger audience because more people are going to be less afraid to have him on, right? So I think that either way it's good. And if he does get banned, which would be the worst case scenario, Elijah Schaffer, if he does get banned for having Nick Fuentes on, maybe Elijah Schaffer would migrate over to Cozy or something like that. I don't know if Nick would want that, but I'm just saying, like, maybe like if the worst case would happen where he gets banned, then he could migrate to Cozy and then other people could do the same thing. So where you have like Cozy being a competing platform in the political world where all these other independent streamers in the political sphere start going over to Cozy, right? So I don't know, that might be it. But the other thing I wanted to talk about was the girl that he was talking to on Elijah Schaffer's stream. And he said everything right, but the girl was so mad like the entire time. She had like a resting bitch face. I don't know who she is, Sydney Watson or something like that. I've never heard of her before. I don't watch Elijah Schaffer, but she was like acting polite, but you could tell in her face that she was just so salty that Nick was just telling her basically the truth. And there was like a mixed response from this. I saw a couple of comments where there was girls commenting saying like, Nick Fuentes is right. I'm a woman and I want to be put in my place. I want to be able to trust my husband to vote for my interests and stuff like that. So that was pretty funny. But then you had all these little simp bitches talking about like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's never been with a woman. He can't have this have these ideas and stuff like that. And it's like, well, for me, I'm married. I have two daughters, and I feel the same exact way as women about women. I feel the same way about women as Nick Fuentes, and I have a wife and two daughters. So it's not about whether you have the experience with women or not. It's about knowing what we are naturally ordered to do. A woman's place is in the kitchen or in jail. No, a woman's place is to have babies, to nurture children, to produce, to be fruitful, to be a wife, to be a home, keep up the home and all that stuff. And a man's job is to provide and protect his family, right? So when you're not doing that, then you're not a woman. You're not doing what God has naturally ordered you to do. And of course, there's exceptions to everything, I guess. But women and men have their places that they're supposed to do in life. Right? It's not about hate and stuff like that. If you are a woman and you're not a wife or a mother, or at least aspiring to be those things, then you are not doing what you're supposed to do. And it's the same thing for men. If you're a man and you're not a father and a husband and a protector and a provider, then you're not doing what you're supposed to do. And in both cases, I think that there should be an environment created where both of those types of people are shamed, and until they're willing to do what they're supposed to do, until they're actively trying to get in those positions, right? Like, I don't know. I thought that that all these people that were saying all this stuff like, oh, she had such etiquette and you could tell that she was mad, but she handled it so professionally and stuff like that. And it's like, this isn't out of the ordinary. Like our society, they're such bitches. Like women are not supposed to be in positions of authority. It says in the Bible, women are meant to submit to their husbands, right? And of course, the husband is supposed to love the woman and be charitable towards her and all that stuff. But it's not, and they're not equal. They both have their roles to play, and they're both equally important, but they're very different, right? So I don't know. I thought that was really funny and stuff. But I see this whole thing as like a really good thing. If Nick is going to start going on more streams of other popular normie con type people to spread his message to a wider audience, like it's only going to get better. And then you look at like what Nick's doing compared to like Patriot Front, which is just a total honeypot in my opinion. Like Patriot Front was at the White House or the Capitol or something today, marching in like anonymous like gear with face masks and stuff like that, and holding like toy shields, and they just look like retarded. And I don't know. I it just you compare that to like they're not accomplishing anything. They're doing like banner drops and putting stickers up all over poles and stuff like that, and they're just not doing anything tangible whatsoever. And you look in comparison to what Nick Fuentes has done in less than 5 years, where he's single-handedly changed the platform of TPUSA and changed the immigration policy and all of this other stuff, and has become a mainstream name. Everybody knows him. Everybody's talked about him in the mainstream media. He's so they consider him such a danger that they put him on the no-fly list. Tucker Carlson has basically adopted Nick Fuentes' rhetoric. Nick Fuentes is able to get hundreds of kids to show up at a moment's notice in any state, and like he's been banned off of everything, but keeps gaining more and more popularity, right? And then you compare it to all these other people that were in the dissident right over the last 5 years or whatever it was, and they've just accomplished absolutely nothing. So I don't know. What else? Another thing I wanted to talk about was Lauren Witzke. She I like Lauren Witzke a lot, but she just posted a thing of this Orthodox guy like calling the Pope a heretic, and I thought that that was very not cool. And she was like, "Oh, he called him a heretic, and rightfully so because the Pope is a heretic or something like that." And it's like, you're Orthodox, all right? Like, obviously, we're brothers in Christ or whatever, but Catholicism is the only way. And you're Orthodox, you're by definition a heretic. They don't believe in Catholic dogmas. They don't believe in the filioque. They don't believe in papal supremacy. They don't believe in the Immaculate Conception or the Assumption or a bunch of different Catholic dogmas, which makes them heretics. A baptized person who doesn't believe in one or more Catholic dogmas is automatically a heretic. And don't get me wrong, I like Orthodox, and their church is probably in a better state than the Catholic Church right now and all that stuff, but it is not the true church. It is not about aesthetics. It is not about the trad look or whatever it is. It's about belonging to the true church of Jesus Christ, and they're not it. And as far as the Pope goes, the Pope is a horrible Pope, right? And, he talks with ambiguity and, just probably has led people into error and has made a lot of poor decisions, in my opinion, but he's still the Pope, and we have to respect that authority. And like I said before, first of all, he hasn't said anything blatantly heretical. He's never denied a Catholic dogma, right? And so that doesn't, he's not a heretic. By definition, he is not a heretic. So calling him a heretic is just, first of all, you don't have that authority. If he is a heretic, it's up to the church to declare him a formal heretic, and then whatever happens, happens. But the Pope cannot be a heretic, right? Like, we're told that it's never happened. The Pope cannot be a heretic. If it does turn out that he is a heretic, then he would be an anti-Pope or whatever, right? And then I guess after his papacy, they'll declare him that he never really was the Pope. I don't really know. But as of right now, he is the Pope, and we are to submit to him. We don't have to agree with everything he says. We don't have to like him. We have to pray for him and respect his position as the Holy Father, and that's it. It's not that complicated, but people think that they have the authority to interpret things and make these authoritative declarations of what is and isn't true, and it's just not the case. It's very Protestant, like that's what it is. But I'm gonna unmute some people if you want to talk. Actually, I'm just gonna unmute everybody and see who wants to talk. I think I might play some games. That's what I was gonna do too. I haven't played. I used to love playing video games, right? And everybody says like video games are gay or whatever, but like I don't know. I think that if you do it in moderation and you're not like a nerd and obsessed with it and that's all you do and you just play video games 8 hours a day, there's nothing wrong with that. now I used to play video games like a total loser when I was in high school, and now I have zero time to play video games whatsoever. I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I go to work, I get home at like 2, and then I get back, have to be with my kids, put them to sleep. They go to sleep around like 6 or 7, and then I'm with my wife. We watch TV for a little while, and then we go to bed, and then she falls asleep by like 9, and then by that time I'm exhausted, and that's like the only time I would get to like play video games or do something that I want to do, and I end up just going to sleep. So this is like um, an anomaly that I have this time right now. So, all right.
Hello?
Hey, oh, there's Static. What up?
Hey, what's up?
Whoa, I am
But
sweating so hard right now.
oh, what is it? Hot in your house?
Talk about debate Jay Dyer. I'm not going to debate Jay Dyer, even if I knew half the information that he knew, because he's very smart, he's very talented, and I like him as a person. I think he's a nice guy in person, but his debate tactics are not charitable whatsoever. He argues in bad faith. He knows how. He has the skill where he knows how to debate and basically formulate or control the conversation where he's going to win no matter what, because he is not arguing the way that like an actual argument happens. But I did see him get destroyed in one debate versus Eric Ybarra, and he got destroyed in that debate. But as far as I'm not gonna your somebody's mic is like opening and closing doors. I don't know who that is. Oh, that was you. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so I'm not gonna debate him, whatever. Uh, Miss the old druggy story time, Spexo. Tugboat. I told the tugboat story. Talk about Anne Frank. Anne Frank was a damn skank.
Oh man.
It's just,
Yeah.
oh, I don't know. Yeah, but Jay Dyer he's very smart and articulate, and he knows a lot of stuff or whatever, but he's still a heretic. You know, I like him as a person, but he needs to return to the true Church of Jesus Christ. What's up, Static? What are you doing
I'm just home right now. Tomorrow I'm going to church for the first time, and
for the first
I
time
hope I do
ever?
good.
You hope you do
No,
good.
the first time. No, not the first time ever. The first time in a long time,
Hmm.
like a couple years. The last time I went was my brother's confirmation,
Oh,
which was
nice.
like 2.5 years ago.
Awesome. And
But tomorrow,
did you go to confession?
uh, I think I used to when I was younger, but then I kind of stopped.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I just never took it seriously, which I wish I did. But now I'm gonna definitely go to confession every week.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna try
awesome.
and be consistent
What I don't like
because
about
now,
Go
what
ahead.
happened?
No, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Oh, how do you call it? Tomorrow also, I'm gonna be applying to a new job because I've been unemployed for 3 months,
Nice.
and I'm gonna make sure it's full time because Also, what I realized when you start working and you don't have a job anymore,
Hmm.
not working sucks. Like not working sucks
Because you
bad.
why? Because you're not making money, or why?
Well, and it's also because I like moving around. I like getting out of the house.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I haven't had like any time off in a really long time now, but I remember when I was working construction, and then I was going to get this new job, but it wasn't going to come for like another 6 months or something like that. So I was
Hmm.
working this job, and then I ended up getting laid off. And the way that I was working construction, so it was a union job. So you would have to call the union hall and find another job or whatever, and the union would send you to that place, and it could be anywhere. It was horrible, right? So I finally had this place for like 9 months, and I ended up getting laid off. So instead of calling the union hall, because I knew I was going to get this other job in like within 6 months, I was like, I'll just go
Hmm.
on unemployment for as long as I can, and while I'm getting unemployment, I'll start delivering food. So I did that. I started delivering food, collecting unemployment, and I was making more money than I ever made in my life. I was like 23 years old, and I was bringing home like $1,200 a week because I was getting unemployment
Damn.
and delivering food. You know, it was it was awesome. And honestly,
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta
I think
do.
my favorite job was when I worked in a pizzeria. I worked in this pizzeria when I was like 21 maybe, and like I mean, it paid pretty horrible. I mean, not horrible. Like I was working 5 days a week in this pizzeria delivering pizzas, and some days you can make, if they had a good day, you can make like $200 a day, $250 a day. But then other times you would make like $25 a day. You know what I'm saying? So it was like never consistent. But if that job had like benefits and like health insurance and stuff like that, I would love. And plus, you get free pizza, so that was awesome too.
It's
Oh.
kind of like similar with my old job because I used to work in a grocery store.
Uh
I
huh.
used to work in frozen, and this November, well, it's December. November would have been my second year there.
Hmm.
I worked there for a while. I used to work in, frozen. I also worked in dairy and grocery because they moved me around due to COVID when it first happened, and
Hmm.
everyone was panic buying and freaking out and whatever.
Hmm.
And also, it was kind of similar to yours in your situation at the pizzeria. They were working me 6 days a week,
Uh-huh.
part time. And I used to work sometimes 40-hour weeks every other week in the summer. And they were working me like a horse. And every day I used to come home just exhausted.
Hmm.
And also, the manager was kind of pissy. Well, not pissy when I did said I wasn't going to wear the mask, and he just sent me home.
Hmm.
Then he had the brother talk with me, and I'm like, dude, you're my manager. Why are you giving me the brother talk?
But you're like
Oh, come on, man.
you're like young, right? You're like teenager still?
22.
Oh, 22, but you still live with your parents and stuff, right? So you don't have like
Yeah.
big boy bills yet.
No, I don't.
Yeah, see, that's not like an option for like a lot of people because I don't know, people that are like have families and stuff like that and are
Yeah.
supporting stuff, like they're not going to be able to just be like, "Oh, well, I'm not going to wear a mask because I don't care about this job or whatever." I mean, if you can, that's awesome. I respect that or whatever, but like I don't know. The mask thing is super gay, don't get me wrong or whatever, but I think the mask compared to the
Oh, I know.
vaccine is not like a big deal. But you said you got a new job
Oh,
now,
I
right?
know. Well, I'm going to be applying tomorrow. It's going to be like similar to the old job, but they pay like 15.50 an hour, which is way above my old uh, money per hour that I used to get paid. And it's going to be full time because I saw the gig and I'm like, I'm taking it. I'm going to see what they say, and if they call me, I'm getting full time because I need make more money now because I'm not going to sit home and do nothing.
Yeah. Oh, so somebody just sent me a thing that Jay Dyer said. Now this was 10 years ago. I'm looking at it now, but this is still like pretty cringe. He goes, "Yeah, man. I especially like to get really high and read the Doctors of the Church. It's best to try to do canonical studies when you're blitzed too. In fact, I had to get stoned off my ass before I finally grasped the apophatic nature of the divine ousa, as opposed to the experimental nature of the, I don't know, big giant word, and hypostasis energies. Seriously, serious theological studies require a lot of weed." So, first of all, it's cringe because he's just like, I don't know, using all these super big esoteric words to sound intellectual and smart and talking about using drugs, which is a sin in orthodoxy too. It is a sin to use marijuana, to get high, to purposely get intoxicated on any substance is a sin, whether you're getting drunk or doing any other drugs, right? And I have this debate with this kid in my chat like all the time, Midwest Jeff. He always defends marijuana, right? And it's not that complicated. If you are purposely getting intoxicated, then you are sinning, right? So I don't know, even if he was Orthodox back then, 10 years ago, then he's advocating for smoking marijuana to read the church fathers. I don't know. That's very sinful to me. What do you think about that?
It is. It sounded like retarded. I'm like, this is like what a 17-year-old would say.
Hmm.
Yeah, dude, I study more when I'm like high off my ass.
Hmm.
It's like, oh, that's great.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also, what the hell is with Ann Coulter shitting on Catholics? Why does she have
Oh
a hard
yeah, I
on with
forgot
shitting
about
on
that. Well, she's
Catholics?
just like a dumb Anglo bitch. Honestly, she's so stupid. This is what happens when women don't have babies. She's like in her 50s.
Mm-hmm.
She's a dried up womb, no eggs, and obviously that has devastated her because now she doesn't know what to do, and she's just so inconsistent with her views, and she's just a grifter to me at this point. Ever since she basically disavowed Nick Fuentes because Nick Fuentes criticized her on something gay she said, and she was like, "Oh, you're criticizing me? That makes me look awesome." And it's like, you're like just a horrible person, honestly. Like I felt bad for her. Like she did this roast on Comedy Central a couple of years ago, and
Mm-hmm.
like everybody there hated her, right? And I was like, that actually takes some courage to go up with all these liberals who hate you and do a roast when you're just being like the butt of all the jokes, right? And she went up there and she was not funny at all, but like it was still like, okay, that takes courage to do that, right? And then now she just turned into a total, I don't know. Matthew
It's
Gazik, I think you're allowed to speak, bro. Yeah, you're allowed to speak. Matthew,
you're allowed to speak.
I
But
guess I am. Sorry about that, dude.
there you go. What's up, bro?
hey, there you are.
Speaking of
But
Sorry, I
women,
didn't notice I
what
was
about
looking at
that?
my
What
phone.
about that? What about that Sydney chick?
Yeah, we were just talking about that.
oh,
Yo,
Yeah,
yeah,
she was
dude,
yo,
she was
pissed.
so
oh
pissed.
my
She was
God,
pissed
dude,
the
guys,
entire time, bro.
I grew up with three
I know.
older women.
Hmm.
You will never get used to it. I praise the Lord I didn't turn out like Milo, dude, because I grew up with three older women,
Hmm.
and hearing her just go on and on and on, and seeing Nick just be like, "Oh my god, can't you just shut the
Bro,
heck up,
No,
dude?"
this is
You can never
Nick
get
was
used to it, man. You can never
when
get
she
used to
was
it.
rambling. When she was rambling,
yeah, he
Nick is
just
just
his
there
face
like,
is just like,
uh huh,
all right, yeah,
uh
no,
huh.
Dude,
there was this
He's
question.
like,
The
yeah.
question.
I'm experiencing a woman right
Yeah,
now.
yeah, bro, that was the best line.
Face
Yeah,
dance
but
right
yo,
there.
the question she was trying to ask was, how can you have these views of a woman when you've never been in a relationship, right? That was the simple question she was trying to ask. She took like a minute and 45 seconds to ask that question. She said all these unnecessary words and just kept talking in circles, and you could just see Nick like just losing energy with this nagging woman. And it's funny because she's getting pissed off at all the stuff that he's correctly saying about women, and she is living up to like every single stereotype of woman. She's just being completely naggy, over emotional, and irrational. You know, it's just retarded. It was mad funny though.
And her argument is at fault too, because like many people do that. If you watch, how many people can know and understand football but never really played it so well?
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
and other things. It's a really dumb argument.
Right. If you're
I
experienced,
love how
you don't need real life experiences to have an opinion on every single thing, right? Like
Hmm.
there's certain circumstances where that might be true, but if you're living in America right now and you see this neoliberal hellhole that we're currently living in, and you see all the decadence and degeneracy, and then you read about times in the past where this wasn't the case, where there was families and the birth rates were up and people were Christian and all this stuff, you can form that opinion based on just reading about that. That okay, that was obviously a better way of life back then, right? You don't have to go, oh well, how do you know you actually enjoy that better? Because I fucking hate this society. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
it's
It's
funny
so
too
funny.
because I feel like Sydney thinks that all the Goipers are just all 15-year-old like people in high
Yeah.
school. I'm like, no,
It,
there's a lot of Goipers that are in their 30s, by the
Mhm.
way, that have families. So
Yeah, I think the
it,
there's
more
a
the more active ones, like obviously the ones that go to events and stuff like that, are on the young side or whatever. But a lot of people in my chat and people that I talk to are like in their late 20s, early 30s and stuff like that. And we have wives and jobs and careers and stuff like that. And like
yeah.
it's just like a stupid stereotype. It's just like these whores who they want to just say, oh, you're an incel, you can't get laid or whatever. And it's like, well, we're Christian, so we don't want to have premarital sex. And second of all, a bunch of us are married with kids. And you think that you want to talk about empowerment and stuff like that, but you're basically saying your only value is in sex, right? So it's just really stupid and insincere. This whole incel thing,
Um,
which most people aren't even
yeah.
incels, they're volcels. They've just appropriated the term incel, I think. But
Yeah.
they're basically volcels. If
mm,
you're voluntarily celibate and you're actively not trying to have premarital sex and you're not focused on women because you want to focus on yourself right now and better your life, that's awesome. That's not something to be like looked down upon.
mm.
Absolutely agree. And and also, I'm not surprised that Sydney was acting like that because number one, she's not religious. I'm pretty sure she's an atheist.
And she's
She even said it
libertarian. Yeah,
herself.
she's agnostic now because she can't take the online bullying.
Agnostic.
So
And then she's
she
going,
changed her title to agnostic now.
Wait,
yeah, and then,
who is she?
yeah,
Is she,
she's
she
agnostic.
is she like married to Elijah or something? Or are they just friends or what?
No, I think
No, they're
I
friends.
think she's single. Yeah, it's funny
Yeah,
because
she's single.
when I was a normie con, I used to like her too. She was like those women commentators who talked about men's rights and stuff. So she was cool back in the day to me, but now since I'm not normie con anymore, yeah, she's cringe.
What was hilarious when she was like, so what was the type of country or the type of system that you would like for women? And he was like, something more closer to the Taliban. That was mad funny.
Dude, oh my gosh, her examples when she said talking about her friend who went to Singapore, which is like a capitalist country,
Yeah.
talking about like that your friend's struggle at Singapore is
Mhm.
nothing to what Nick has gone through. What are you talking about?
It's absolutely so
Oh
stupid.
man, I was just like screaming
I've
to my
been in
screen, man.
Singapore.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah,
Sydney. Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
It's like her
sure.
come
point
on.
on
I,
Hold on.
what I'm trying to be
Wait.
fair.
Hold on.
What
Somebody
I'm
else was
trying to
trying to
be
say
fair with.
something.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Who was
Oh,
talking?
I was just gonna say, like, her point on experience is like exactly what Nick was saying. They're not capable of like separating themselves from what they're talking
Yeah.
about. They have no like inner,
No rational thought. Yeah, they
no rational
Mhm.
thought. Yeah, it's like all personal to them.
Yeah. They can't like separate themselves from what's being said. They're taking everything as a personal insult to them. They're like, well, I'm a smart woman. Well, I should be able to do this. Like, what about me? Like
Yep.
everything is about them,
Yep.
right? And you can't like this is why women should not be in politics or anything because they cannot, no matter what, separate their emotions. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm saying like, well, women should be in the house and blah blah, and oh, I have a PhD and I could perform perform surgeries. I've saved lives. And it's like, okay, congratulations, you're still a woman. Go to the kitchen. I would be more impressed with you. I would be more impressed with you. Like, I don't care if you're a brain surgeon. I would be more impressed with you if you were home taking care of 4 kids and, you know, cooking dinner for your husband. That is more impressive to me from a woman than a woman who is a brain surgeon, just because that's what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. But how do you call it? I like the line when Nick was like, when Sydney asked him, like, have you ever had experience with him? He's like, look, I've talked to a lot of women, and I'm like,
I know what's going on. Yeah.
we know Nick. And he is right though. There has been women that do like him, and it's like he's not just some like ill woman. It's like you know, ill cooties or whatever. Like he knows that some women do like him.
A bunch of women. First of all, a bunch of women like him, right? Just because he's in the public eye. And second of all, this whole idea that like guys being able to get a lot of girls is like something to be proud of. It's not. Girls are easy to get with, especially now with Tinder and all of this degenerate sexual stuff.
Yeah, just hook up.
Guys hooking up with girls is not impressive. It's easy. It's not something to be proud of. What is to be proud of is being with one woman and having children and doing the right thing that God wants you to do. But this whole idea that like oh, nobody wants to have sex with Nick. Mad girls like love Nick, and most girls like being talked to like shit. When I was in college, right, and I'm not like glamorizing this because it was degenerate or whatever, right? These girls that I hooked up with, they liked me not because I was good looking or anything. I was a fat, degenerate, disgusting pig in college, right? They liked me because I treated them like shit, because I acted like they were nothing, right? And anytime that I actually liked a girl and I wanted to get with her and I was nice to her, they wanted nothing to do with me. Girls, for the most part, like being dominated. They like being talked down to. It's just something in their psychology. They're girls. They're crazy, right? So, and plus, Nick Fuentes is not a bad looking guy. He's well groomed. He's well dressed. He's rich, right? So this idea that, oh, Nick can't get a girl is so stupid, and it's such a disingenuous talking point.
Yeah, you
Real red
know,
pill
by
right there,
nature,
that's,
women want to. Oh, sorry, continue. Someone else is talking.
Oh no, I was just gonna say that's the real red pill.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like honestly,
Really
like, a
is.
lot of women, like a lot of them are miserable, not realizing they're miserable because they're living that manly, masculine life instead of that woman, feminine life. Right? Like they think like not having they think having a child is slavery or
Sorry.
get away in life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but in the end, that's where they'll find true fulfillment. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you see like these TikToks of these girls, like they're getting ready for work or something like that, and they're like, I have to go in for a 16-hour day because some dumb bitch thought we should get equal rights.
I saw that TikTok
60 years ago.
I saw that, yeah.
Oh, and it's so true. Like women are way less happy now. They get more diseases. They're the people being single. The rate of single women is so much higher now. Women are just not happy because they are not doing what they are supposed to do according to God, right? For all of history, women were at home taking care of the kids and the house with very, very few exceptions. Obviously, you had queens and you had, you know, women in certain positions of power, very rarely though, and few and far in between. But for the vast majority of human history, women had their place and men had the place of authority and taking care of everything else, right? And only in the last 60 years has this whole equality thing been pushed onto everybody, and it's destroying human civilization, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. And then on top of that, you have women's suffrage and this push for equality, and then you have abortion and contraception and normalizing divorce and hookup culture and counterculture, and it is all like, it's coming to a boiling point now where we are seeing the fruits of everything that started 50 years ago, and we're living in this degenerate society that is probably worse than Weimar Germany at this point. And I think people are really are gonna start waking up, and I think I actually think that people are starting to wake up, especially going by like the comment section of the Elijah Schaefer video that just came out, and also on the Santa Inc. thing that I talked about yesterday. 2 days ago.
Oh, I saw those. Those were hilarious.
The fact that if you ever tell me like a bunch of like 18, 20 high schoolers are trying their best to live conservative and not have sex and stuff, if you told me that during my time in the high school, I'd laugh at your face like, what high school? What high schoolers do you know? What young people do you know? All the kids, all the dudes I hang out with always want to get, always want to bang or talk to their neck,
Yep.
And so like the traditionalists are everything. We're all fighting back. It's all over the world too.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening all over the world.
Yeah, it's not just in America. It's like in Poland.
People are waking up.
The only countries that are having any type of traditional values. I mean, Poland and Hungary are pretty good, certain parts of Russia, I guess, but like the only countries are Muslim countries, right? They're the ones that are keeping women in check and the men are running the country, right? And I want that for Catholics. Like I don't want I don't want to turn Muslim. I don't want Muslims or anything like that, but I want the radicalization that Muslims go through for their Islamic faith for the Catholic faith. People should be that zealous of the Catholic faith to push traditional Catholic values through policies that go through our country, and
Yeah. But
What do
specs
you
though,
think of
internet.
Islamo-Christian values instead of
Well, it's
Judeo-Christian?
Islamo-Christian.
oh no,
No, no, no, no, no,
Islamo.
no, no. Uh,
No, 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 no.
I think it's probably
I'm just joking,
it's
guys. I'm
it's
just
a
joking.
it's a little better than Judeo-Christian, I guess, but it's still heretical,
Uh-huh.
still.
Yeah,
Because
it's Christian values,
Mhm.
right?
But
But
yes, it's Catholic
but
values.
specs.
Yeah.
But specs though, the Vikings had women as warriors. Didn't you read
Oh
history?
yeah, the Vikings.
Says
Oh my gosh,
says every Telegram retard ever.
bro.
They always tell me that.
Well,
Oh,
the
but
latest video game I played also says that too, so it's true.
Assassin's Creed, bro. Did you play Assassin's Creed?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I don't like what I like less if I don't like pagans more or Protestants because they both piss me off.
I
They both come into my chat starting shit, but I think pagans are just because they're fake. I don't like pagans more because
They're worse.
Pagans
They're
are
real.
yeah, I
atheists
think
trying to believe in
mhm,
something. That's what
mhm,
pagans are.
Hey, Jeff.
It's so pointless.
mhm. Oh, Midwest Jeff,
I
what up?
actually had the displeasure of going to I won't say well, he's not listening, so I don't give a shit. My stepbrother, he had a Viking pagan wedding, and it was so
Oh
fucking cringe,
no,
Great.
dude. And you can
Let me guess.
no.
tell, like,
Did
you
he
can
have the
literally
horns
tell
with the
that,
helmet? The helmet with the
like,
horns type
dude,
of
they had
bullcrap?
everything. They had everything, and like you can tell that he pretty much just watched like half a season of Vikings on the History Channel, and he was like, baby, you know what we should do? And then the rest was history.
Oh my gosh,
It was
That's
such a LARP,
ridiculous.
bro. Like
bro.
I showed up in khakis and like, a shirt, and everybody there is like, I mean, just exactly what you would
Yeah.
imagine.
At least
Wearing
like Protestants, even though they're heretics and they're wrong, at least they truly believe in something. They believe in Christ. They believe what they're saying is true. Pagans, nobody believes that Zeus is real and Thor and all these other Disney-owned intellectual properties are actually like watching over them and they're gonna worship a tree to change the weather and sacrifice babies or something like that. Nobody
right.
believes that anymore, right? They're just LARPing because modernity has stripped them of their identity. So they're using these historic
Yeah.
false
So
religions to have like
true.
such like a sense of identity, right? And what's funny
That's
is because
so true, man.
this like
The modernity stripping them of their identity and then replacing it with something else. That's like, just say it again for the people in the back, because it's so true. It really
yeah,
is. I
it,
think it's why a lot of people like choose homosexuality and all these other LGBT fucking LARPs, because it makes them interesting. They stick out in public. They stick out they have a new identity that people can
Yeah.
ask about and they can talk
They need
about it
something to
forever,
believe
you know?
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And all these go
That's
ahead.
what woke me up from my sorry.
No, you're
That's
good.
what woke me up from my atheism. I was like an atheist for a good number of like 8 years. And like when you get older, you get more wiser,
Mhm.
and you start to realize like, dude, these atheists are just as dogmatic. Why do most of the atheists I meet? I was atheist at that time. Like, why do most atheists I meet are either vegan, they're pushing climate change,
Mhm.
they're
Exactly.
pushing like why is all the atheists? And if you don't follow, you don't believe in this, you get like excommunicated, quote
Yep.
unquote.
Yeah,
You know?
that was
Like, what the
that was
heck?
my first awakening because I was like this Reddit tier atheist or whatever, and like really bad.
Yeah.
I would go on my family's like page, not my family's page, like
Oh,
friends
you
would
was
say,
one of those guys?
yeah, friends would say like, "Oh, my grandma died of cancer. Can you please say a prayer for her or something like that?" And I'd be like, "Say a prayer? Why don't you donate to a cancer fund that and actually do something? Don't say fake
Dude,
Yeah.
don't say
oh
fake
my
prayers
God.
to your sky daddy and stuff like that." Like I was like really abrasive, right? Like really bad, right? Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And but then what I realized was that like I was on our atheism all the time, and every other post was like, oh, we're supporting abortion bill or whatever, or gay rights and stuff like that. And I was like, what does this have to do with proving that there's no God, right? This is like it showed that it was just a facade for a political agenda, right? So that made me like hate atheists, but I still didn't believe in God. So I would identify as an atheist who hates other atheists, right? But then I realized that the whole entire concept is just completely fake and gay, and it really is just a psyop to make people hedonistic and to push degenerate political agendas.
So much more edgy. Like I'm not just your regular atheist, guys.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a cool atheist. I'm not like these
Yeah.
gay atheists.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah,
But
but
how do you call it? Some people would ask like, "Oh, why do you guys talk about pagans so much?" Because online, it's growing online. Like online, it's becoming a common thing.
mhm,
But in real life, it's not. It's not
They'll
existent.
find they'll find their way to God eventually. It's just that, like Spexo was saying, it's like this fun little identitarian thing they can do where
mhm.
it's like,
Yeah.
like I can dress up. Like some people really like that. And it's those same type of people like that to like reference that wedding again that I went to. Like I would like there were people there too that were wearing the Viking shit that were also wearing the mask and they like had a role in the wedding, and it's just like
Wait,
it's all part of
what?
that whole like they like to cover themselves with a costume
Mhm.
essentially.
Right, and it's funny because all of these pagans and stuff like that are like, oh, I want to honor my ancestors and stuff like that. And it's like, bro, your ancestors for the last 2,000 years have been Christian. You've retarded, And like, what's funny is that there's like a schism between pagans. Like, there's left wing pagans and the right wing white supremacist pagans. But the left wing pagans are hilarious because they're like witches and they think that they're like casting spells on people. And I saw like there's this black guy who's popular on TikTok who like wears blue contacts and wears like Viking gear. It's so fucking funny. Hello? Did everybody just leave?
Sorry, I'm typing something.
No,
My bad. I thought someone else was gonna respond to you.
no,
I'm
that's the
sorry.
that's the thing too, is that like I'm trying to like account for everybody else's delay or for my own delay. So after somebody stops talking, you kind of wait,
Oh, okay.
make sure nobody else is gonna hop in. We're just all so nice to
Yeah,
each
but
other.
I did
So so
hear you though.
respectful.
So they had there's like a black pagan dude who like worships Odin and stuff
Yeah,
on TikTok.
there's this Telegram page. I forgot what it's called. It's like paganism or something like that. Like it's basically just
Yeah.
mocking all of these pagans and stuff like that. And they were
Well,
posting like this black pagan guy, right? And then they were posting these other pagans who are anti-racist pagans and saying that racists aren't welcome in the pagan movement and stuff like that. It is so gay.
how gay is that? Oh my god.
But yo, there is like
Oh
there
my
is
god.
pagan things that like people don't even realize. Like we associate pagans with like the Vikings and like these weather gods and stuff like that. But like using superstitious tokens and stuff like that is pagan. Like using anything that is like, I don't know how to explain it. Like a mythical thing. Like for example, my mom, who was raised Catholic and now she's just, I don't know, I don't know what she believes in. She's it's really annoying though. She My grandpa died and she brought these crystals to his grave, right? And I was like, what
Oh,
what what are you
I
what are
know
you
what you
doing
mean.
with these
New Age
crystals or whatever,
crystals.
right? And she was like, yeah, the new age shit, right? And she was like, oh, I heard these produce like good energy or something like that or whatever. And I
Oh
I was
boy.
like, I kept my mouth shut because she was like in mourning and really sad and stuff like that. But my grandpa was a devout Catholic, right? If he knew she was putting crystals on his grave, he's rolling in his grave. You know what I'm saying? Like I was just like, how are people getting so confused? And I asked,
Dude,
yeah,
oh my god, it'd take everything in me just to say, Grandma, just pray for him,
yeah,
please.
just
You
oh
know,
my gosh.
it took everything in me, man.
It's
Uh,
it,
Oh
it
man,
it
that
is
sucks
it
to
is
hear.
this new age. It is this new age crap. I really hate this new age spirituality crap. Like I look at it and I'm like, it just looks like rebranded Satanism. That's
it,
just what
it
it looks
is.
like.
Well, in my opinion,
Oh,
anything
Yeah.
that's not
makes
Catholic
no
is
sense.
Satanism, but that's just me.
Yeah. But
Um,
they're
his
trying to
panic room.
brand it as something hip.
Yeah, his panic room. You're allowed to talk if you were raising your hand. I think. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? Good evening.
Hey,
Hello.
man.
Yo,
Hey, what's up?
Yeah. Oh, nothing. Just listening in. Yeah, the pagans. Very cringe. Definitely.
Hmm.
Just.
Yeah, and they They also like to argue like, why do you guys want to get rid of European history, like the runes and all these other symbols and all that? And I'm
Yeah,
just like, it's because it's not Christian.
and it's not even European history. I mean, technically it is, but they weren't identifying as European. You know what I'm saying? They were different tribes. They were the Franks and the Gothics or whatever, the Anglos and the Saxons or whatever. Like they were different European tribes, but they were basically Proto-European ethnicities. European civilization didn't come until Christendom came, and the reason that European civilization united was because of the Catholic Church, and the reason that Europeans stayed alive and fought off Muslim hordes was because of the Crusades and people uniting under the Catholic faith, under monarchies, and fighting for their faith. So this whole idea that Christianity is not European or something like that is such a cope.
It's foreign and Jewish, bro.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
foreign.
Yeah, we got somebody. Hold on, we
Jewish.
got somebody in the chat that's saying, explain how Christianity isn't Jewish. No, Jewish isn't Jewish, right? Jesus Christ is the fulfillment of the Old Testament. Once Jesus Christ came, he nullified Judaism. Modern Talmudic Judaism is not Old Testament Judaism. It is a perversion of the old law. The new and eternal covenant is with Jesus Christ. The Talmud is a newer religion, and the Talmudic Judaism is a newer religion, and in the Talmud it talks about Jesus Christ when it blasphemes him and his mother, when it calls the Virgin Mary a very bad word and says that Jesus Christ is burning and boiling excrement and all of this nonsense. Modern Talmudic Jews have nothing to do with the Old Covenant. They are not ethnically or religiously similar to the Old Covenant Jews. But go on.
Yeah, it's insulting how they spit on Christianity. Even the ones that claim to be Christians, they believe that we need to protect these Jews because they're God's chosen people. But
yeah, well, that's the evangelical thing. The evangelical people have been psyoped into believing in Zionism, believing that Israel is this nation state created in 1948, and not understanding that Israel just means the people of God who have God's blessing from Abraham, right? Which are the descendants of Abraham, which we are all descendants of Abraham now if we believe in Jesus Christ, right? So this whole
just like in Matthew 15, the woman that had said to Jesus that, heal my daughter, and he said that I'm here for the lost sheep of Israel.
Mm-hmm. Somebody said, how are they not ethnically related to the original Jews? Some of them might be, but like with the diaspora when they went to the Iberian Peninsula and Eastern Europe and stuff like that, they used like breeding tactics of like selective breeding and basically created a new ethnicity out of different admixtures, right? So saying that they're ethnically similar to like, they might have some percentage or something like that of like the Pharisaical Jews of like the olden times of the historic Jews from Judea, but they are not like the same ethnic makeup as Old Testament Jews.
They're Edomites.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know what the official teaching on that. I've heard things like they're the Canaanites and stuff like that, and they're whatever, Kaiser, right? What is it? Kaiser milkers that goes around. Khazar milkers.
Oh, man. That's horrible.
Yeah,
it's a real shame, honestly. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much hipster Christians, I guess you can call them. They're always trying to make Christian look comfortable when it's not about comfort.
Well, it's all just Protestantism. And then you have Protestants who like, no, I'm not like the other Protestants. We're based, we're traditional and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, that's not what it's about. It's about following the truth. Like, yeah, there are Catholics that are cringe. There are Catholics that are basically heretics and promoting liberalism and all this degenerate stuff. But that doesn't make it not the true church. That doesn't make the something else the correct faith,
Are you Second Vatican?
Am I Second Vatican? Yes, but not. I recognize Vatican II as a legitimate ecumenical council. Obviously, there is a lot of ambiguity that has led people into error, and the interpretation of Vatican II has been a disaster. But I don't deny that it's a valid ecumenical council. I just think that there needs to be clarity, and there was a lot of subversion going on that probably put purposeful ambiguity in the Vatican II. But I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, Vatican II is heretical or something like that.
There were communists that were literally like having a campaign of like infiltrating the Catholic Church and subverting the beliefs and their dogma and stuff. That's been documented a lot of times, but I feel like sedevacantists, they take that red pill and they just overdose on it, and they don't know how to formulate a nuanced position on Vatican II. They're just like, you're either with us or you're against us.
Yeah, that's how I
Type of
was too.
attitude.
When I first became Catholic, that's how I was too. Until I found Michael Lofton on
Lofton.
from Reason
Yeah.
and Theology, and he has this whole playlist. It's like probably 8 hours long, where he goes over all different Vatican II things and basically describes what the problems are and how you have a nuanced position on it. Which is basically you could read Vatican II in a completely orthodox position, because the way, like when I first started, like I heard that Muslims prayed to the same God, and I was like, what do you mean Muslims pray to the same God? That doesn't make any sense. And it's like, oh well, that's what Vatican II says, and I couldn't reconcile like how, you know what I'm saying? So then when I watched Michael Lofton's video and I actually read some of the documents in Vatican II, it doesn't say that at all. The point of it was trying to basically find common ground and say that we are monotheists, right? To try and get them to come to the Catholic faith. And all of it says that Muslims profess to worship the one true God. It doesn't say they do so successfully. It doesn't say that they are part of the true church or belong to, you know what I'm saying? Because if you don't worship Jesus Christ, you're not worshiping the correct God, obviously. So a lot of what people say about Vatican II is misinformed, but we also shouldn't excuse the errors that came from Vatican II and from the clergy that purposely misinterpreted it and like led us all into error, you know? So you have to take a more nuanced position. You can't just be like, oh, that's heretical. You don't have that authority, you know?
Yeah. I'm not.
What?
Here, you can go.
Oh, how do you call it? I feel like right now with a lot of Christians, especially in America, I feel like they're also having an identity crisis. Like when they say I'm Christian, they just say it like it's like, oh, like it's like a good trend, but it's like, what do you mean? Like when someone says I'm a Christian, I'm like, what do you mean by Christian? Like, do you practice the faith? Do you go to church? Do you receive the sacraments? Do you follow the 10 Commandments the best of your ability? Do you do any of that? And
It's boomer.
they
It's
see
boomer
that.
Christianity. It's boomer Christianity.
It's heresy.
Yeah. It's just I feel like the evangelicalism is just an American thing. I feel like it's only in this country. Like everything that's terrible and cringe comes from this country, and it pisses me off sometimes.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's evangelicals in other countries and stuff like that, but that specifically
Yeah.
American evangelicals are horrible because they were basically corrupted by the Schofield Bible, and then these televangelists who were interpreting the Schofield Bible, which is the first ever in all of Christian history where they said they basically made Christians into Zionists, you know, basically saying that, yeah, Jews are the chosen people, and Israel, any nation that doesn't support Israel is going to get God's wrath or something like that, when it's just a complete misinterpretation. And that's the foundation of all Protestantism, is subjectivism, you know, like this is
Yeah.
what this Bible verse means to me. And it's like, no, that's not how it works, you know.
Yeah, it's not how it
funny
works.
is when you hear, oh, we want to separate church and state, right? Clearly
Bullshit.
they want to demolish church.
Yeah,
That
right.
the state is being used to demolish the church.
First of all,
But then when you
Okay.
ask why do we support Israel,
Mhm.
they always bring up the Bible. But it's like, I thought you wanted to separate church and state.
Mhm.
You know, so if you're trying
Yeah,
to
that's a
tell
good
me
point.
that,
That's not a bad point. But
Yeah.
but also the separation of church and state is a complete psyop. It's not in the Constitution. It's not in the Declaration of Independence. It's from letters from, I want to say, hold on, I have this actually, church and state. I think it was
Thomas Jefferson, right?
Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, church and state. I had this bookmarked. Here it is. Yeah.
Oh, there.
deal.
Got it bookmarked right on the spot. Boom.
Thomas Jefferson was
Yep.
not a Christian. He was
Yep, Thomas Jefferson. Yeah, so this was the first way that they came about church and separation of church and state was Thomas Jefferson writing a letter to this Baptist church who was afraid that they were gonna the religious practices were gonna be violated by their state's things or something like that, and that's where it came from. It's not an American value or a constitutional value, and even if it was, it's wrong. There's a lot of things wrong with the American Constitution. Firstly, it doesn't say that America should only be a Catholic monarchy. Right there, horrible decision. So it doesn't really matter. And second of all, church and state has nothing to do with the Constitution or anything. So when politicians use that term, they have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah, that is one
mean,
thing.
The most
people don't
successful form
understand
of
the
governance was combining
Constitution.
church and state, you know?
Well, the thing is, the
Like
Constitution itself
Christendom.
is not Christian; it's anti-Christian. I mean, just the First Amendment alone
Yeah,
goes
it's
against
birthed
the
from a
First Amendment.
revolution.
Yep, freedom of speech goes against Catholicism. What else? Freedom of religion goes against Catholicism.
Wait.
What?
So, have you read Dignitatis Humanae in Vatican II?
What is it?
It's the document advocating for religious liberty.
Right, but that what that is saying is that nobody can be coerced to be a certain religion, right? That is saying that you can't force somebody to
It's
convert.
uh,
Yeah. I mean,
I don't
I've
know. I
watched.
would.
I have to. I'll read it again, and I have to. I watched
Yeah.
some videos and some explanatory things about it. But from what I see, it's basically saying that you can't. We want everybody to be Catholic, but we can't coerce people to be Catholic, right? And it's basically saying that that like we can't have like rules where it says like, oh, you need to convert to Catholicism or you're going to be oppressed or something like that. But on the other hand, that doesn't mean that we can't have a country that says like in order to be a citizen you need to be Catholic. That doesn't mean that we can't be like
It
we're,
does.
we're
It
not
does
gonna.
say stuff like that.
I don't know. I'll have to look at it again. But also Vatican.
Okay, you should give that one a good look because I find that one like I don't know. I found that one really troubling to reconcile. 'Cause
Mhm.
at least on my own, but I'm definitely open to
Well, you also have to
more
remember
about
too
that.
that while we have to recognize that Vatican II is a valid ecumenical council, from what I've learned, it's that it is not infallible. It's not declaring any new dogmas or any new doctrines, right? So I think that it's
Mhm.
just rewording other things and maybe adding new disciplines or something. But I really don't think that it has to be strictly taken. And if you look at the history of the church or whatever, it's kind of like the death penalty thing where like the Pope said that he's against death penalty. That's kind of like a discipline and his like viewpoint on modern society, basically saying that we could take care of like we have the ability to take care of all people without having to kill them or something like that. So you're allowed to have like a conscious disagreement with that. You just have to come at it in a charitable way. So I don't think there's really a problem with disagree if that thing says if that document says about religious liberty or something like that, then I don't see that problem with consciously disagreeing with it, especially going by what the traditions of the church have said for the past 2,000 years that religious liberty and freedom of speech is satanic because if we're allowing society is only as good as what you allow to tolerate, and if you're tolerating falsehoods and not the truth, then that's not a good society.
Yep. Also, with Michael Lofton, I like his critique he was doing for infiltration by Dr. Taylor Marshall. I liked his critique about it, and it just shows that, like, look, Taylor's a good guy. He's a good Catholic,
Mm-hmm.
but also shows he's very unknowledgeable when it comes to certain things.
Right. Yeah. It's the rad trads need to be corrected the most because they are the ones closest to us, right? They are the ones that are on that want the best things. They want what we want, but sometimes they go too far and they don't know how to properly interpret things, or they end up going into like borderline heresy or Protestantism or Sedevacantism because they don't have like the proper tools or understanding. But they have the correct values. They want what's best for the Catholic Church, so that's why we need to try to bring them closer to us, most importantly, because we already know the liberal Catholics and the people that are trying to really destroy the church are our enemies. These guys are allies, but we also don't want them to be in heresy.
Hmm. But I feel like also, I don't know if this is just me. Like I used to watch Taylor Marshall when I first got into Catholicism. I think mid to late last year
Mm-hmm.
when I started learning about it more. I feel like with Taylor, he talks too much shit about Pope Francis. Like, look, Pope Francis is not perfect, but I feel like as Catholics, we should pray for him, pray for his repentance in the future and stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
hopefully he understands like his personal views. But like you said, like he's a man.
Yeah. Well,
A man is sinful. They're capable of sinful
Right.
things.
Taylor Marshall's the one who actually convinced me to be Catholic because I was going through 6 months of looking at everything Catholic and Orthodox, going through a bunch of Jay Dyer videos, Taylor Marshall, all these other people on YouTube doing debates and stuff like that. And Taylor Marshall was the one that convinced me that Catholicism was the right path. But then I was watching him and he was doing all this stuff on the Pope, and I was like, well, if you're talking all this stuff about the Pope, then like, how do you reconcile that? Why are you still Catholic? And like, he was never giving a real answer on that. You know what I'm saying? And then like, I finally found like Michael Lofton, who really changed my whole entire perspective on it, and realized that there is a more nuanced way to view it. That so yeah, my thing with Taylor Marshall is that I feel like even though he might bring people to the Catholic faith, some people he might be pushing away, like me, that like are trying to understand like, how are you still like you what are you saying, that the Pope is the Pope, but like you think that he's a heretic? That doesn't make any sense. Let me just read some of this stuff. When it comes down to all things under the First Amendment, freedom of religion, speech, press, etc., which ones go against the faith? All of them. Freedom of speech, if you're allowing blasphemy or degenerate things, that goes against Catholicism. We don't tolerate sin, we expose sin. Freedom of religion, why would we tolerate false religion or false worship in our society? All of the First Amendment goes against Catholicism. America is majority Protestant, LOL. Yeah, that's the problem right there. That is the correct. That is the problem.
That
And we need
is
to
the
fix that.
problem.
I love when people say that. America is not Christian. There's nowhere in the Constitution. America is my home. America is not its government, right? It's not the falsehoods of the beliefs of the people. America is the people and the history and the traditions, and I want what's best for my home, and that would be Catholicism. Vatican II is not good. I agree. It needs to be corrected, but it is still a valid ecumenical council. What else? All right. Oh, who else is in the chat? Oh, we got
Hey,
18 people. Hey, what's
I
up?
like this. Oh,
it's Andy from Met Squad. Just real quick, it's the Christmas season, and I think it's a good time to Christ bill our families. I've gone a little too hard on this in the past. I wanted to ask for your advice on it as far as bringing your family back into the fold, bringing them, the welcome home speech. I've gone way too hard on this before and pushed people away.
Yeah.
I want to get your take on it.
Yeah, well, good to hear from you, Andy. That's awesome. The last time we talked when I was on your show, were you Catholic? Were you Christian yet? Or is this a new
Yeah,
development?
I was a Christian. I was raised Catholic, and then I spent about 5 years away from God. Then I joined up with my uncle at a non-denominational church, and now I'm kind of coming back to Catholicism.
That's awesome. Okay, so that's
where I'm at.
Nice. So I went through the same exact thing you did when I started getting like super extremist with my Catholic faith, where like now that I was doing all this stuff, like I wanted everybody else to do this. I wanted to save the soul of my whole family and stuff like that. And they were originally fine with me doing it personally, but once I started like trying to say like, no, you can't do that. No, what you're saying is heretical. No, you need to come to church. You need to go to confession. You need to do all this stuff like that. Like they were getting, it was off-putting to them, right? They were like, just let me do my own thing. Stop doing this, blah, blah. And like it turned them off from the faith. And then the next Sunday, right after I was going through all this turmoil because I couldn't figure out how to convert my family, I went to church and the homily was about how we can't force our faith on others, and the only way to get people is by attraction rather than promotion, meaning living the faith ourselves and being that guiding light so that other people see the change in our lives and it attracts them to want to do it themselves, right? So that's the only thing I could say to you. I would say do a deep dive, learn about your faith, and actually try to live it in your life and change yourself as a person and let other people see that change in you to the point where it goes, wow, this worked for him, maybe it'll work for me, and maybe they'll be more open-minded and it'll open their hearts to come to the faith, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree with that. I mean, over here, I am putting a lot of time into this church and going there about 3 times a week and just being an active member of it. Again, I'm on the road to Catholicism, which these people aren't, on the same wavelength. You'd probably call them Protestant, although they wouldn't call themselves that.
Most Protestants don't know they're Protestants.
I don't know, dude. The history of the church is something I'm still reading up on. I can't really speak too much on that. However, I just, what do you call it? I think we've all tried to red pill our families or whatever. I realize this is pointless. I'd rather them just have eternal salvation in the comfort of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
This is what I have fundamentally. Like, this is like a lot more freeing. Like, I mean, I was a basement dweller, a year ago? Just a nihilistic basement dweller. Then I found God again. And I just felt the freedom or the weight lifted off, rather. I want my family to have the same. But, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, man.
You just,
Nice.
I'll definitely pray for you, and you got to do a lot of praying, and just like I said, just focus on yourself, focus on you getting good with the faith, and I guarantee that like if they notice the change in you, they'll be more open-minded to it, And if not, you don't have control over it, but all you could do is try, right?
Yeah, all you can do is try in this world.
Yeah.
And also,
Right.
how do you call it? At first, when I saw a lot of these kids my brother's age in high school, all like weirdos and all this, and I'm like, when did society like decline to a point where young kids are having an identity crisis? Like, when did that start? Like, most of these kids don't even know what they are, and it's like, what is going on?
Well,
why are these kids?
It's the school system. The school system, because faith came out of the school system, even in Catholic schools. Like Catholic schools are leading people away from Catholicism. Like it's all about secularization and pushing science and all this stuff, and it's making everybody materialistic and hedonistic. And basically, even if they consciously believe in God, they are acting as if there is no God and just living for only what's in the material temporal world. And when you do that, then all your focus is on what's in front of you and not what's in the afterlife, So if you're only focusing on this world, then that is a miserable existence, because there's only so much stuff you can get. And it's not going to give you happiness,
Yep. You get these like these gay dudes that don't even know what they are, and they have like dyed pink, blue, green hair or whatever. And then you get these other dudes that literally look like chicks, but they're like, "Oh no, I'm not gay. I'm just embracing my femininity, I'm like, then you're gay then.
Yeah, it's
You're
also
gay
it's also
then.
about people that naturally want attention. The rise in mental illness. You can go a little schizo mode and talk about the estrogen being put in like the water and the plastics and all of this chemicals
Oh,
that we're ingesting and stuff like that. That's probably hurting people.
oh,
But
I know
also
that.
when you normalize degeneracy and then like in the media, but then socially it's still not really accepted. But you know that they're in a position where they can't really call you out on it because then they could ruin their lives or whatever. Then that probably attracts people to become those degenerates to attract attention, knowing that they can't get in trouble for it, and just some of it I just feel like it isn't real. I feel like people do this as a form of like a false identity, just like with the pagan stuff, just with like everything else. They become cross dressers or gays or any other type of degenerate, not because they genuinely have like this mental illness disorder. It's because they, I mean, no matter what, it's still a mental disorder, but they have this need for attention and identity. Let me read some of this stuff real quick. Why isn't Fulton Sheen
Yeah,
a
yeah.
saint? He's got a miracle attributed to him. Plus, make him. Plus, I'd make him my confirmation saint. I don't know. I heard that they were going to canonize him. He definitely should be a saint, I think. But it's not up to me. When it comes down, okay, hold on. America, blah blah blah. I read that. All Protestant countries should convert to Catholicism. Very true. The whole world should convert to Catholicism. Thoughts on Nick Fuentes' comments about not liking the idea of marriage? Are you talking about from the Elijah Schaefer video? What he said was that he doesn't like the idea of spending the rest of his life with a woman and living with a woman, and he said that marriage would be out of necessity to have a male heir, which I completely understand. Like it's very hard in today's society to find a woman that you could stand being with every day, but he still wants to get married and stuff. Plus, he's trying to be the savior of America, so he's an exceptional person. So whether he gets married or not is irrelevant as long as he's pushing people in that direction, I think. Thoughts on receiving communion in the hand? I receive communion on the tongue, but this is another thing I learned from Michael Lofton. The church fathers, up until I think like the 800s, were receiving communion on the hand, but they were doing it with reverence, I think, on their knees. They were making sure that no particles were falling on the floor. Now people receive the Eucharist on their hand. They don't even kneel. They don't do anything. They just go like this. They get it. They put it in their mouth, and they don't even like act like the true presence of Christ is in the Eucharist. So I think it's safest to receive on the tongue, go on both knees, and receive it on your tongue. But it's not sacrilegious to receive on your hand or whatever, like a lot of people try to say, like these rad trads try to say. But the way that the vast majority of Catholics are receiving communion on the hand is very bad. How would you deal with the enemies of the Catholic Church? Just gonna kill them. No, we're gonna we're gonna convert them with charity and stuff. We're just gonna kill them. And
Just gonna kill them all.
what's it called? I don't know. How would I deal with the enemies of the Catholic Church? Well, first we have to have a Catholic government, and like I said, I would have my 3-strike rule. The first strike, if you said anything heretical or went against the Catholic faith, you would do a year in forced labor camp. The second would be 5 years, and the third you would die. They're putting soy in the soy to make soy gay. So true. All right, that's all the comments so far.
We have a guy who joined. His name is Goyim Defender.
Oh
boy.
gosh. Yeah, I'm not even gonna unmute him.
Goyim
Not even gonna unmute him. That does not. That's just gonna get me banned from YouTube.
America
Specs,
Appreciator. What's up,
Yo,
man?
Can you hear me?
yes. What's up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were just talking about like the whole gay people thing in high school,
hmm
and I just wanted to, because I'm in high school, right? And it's mostly from what I can gather, it's because people don't have a community anymore, like a genuine community. You know what I'm saying?
That's true too.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, like people around you, like your neighbor and stuff.
Mhm.
So they're looking for like these cliques to get with, so they can like use them to replace their community, like the scene kids, if you remember that. Yeah.
So you're saying that because they don't have a community, they try to get a community through these false ideas of like the degeneracy with being gay and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's probably that's probably definitely part of it. You also like you want to be part of something and you really don't fit in anywhere else, so you figure like I'll just do what these kids are doing to be cool or whatever. But it is so weird because none of that was ever considered cool in like the history of the world. Like all this stuff is brand new, where like being like everything that was degenerate and was shameful and everything that you were ostracized from society for has now become what you're accepted for and like pushed to be like empowering and stuff like that, and it's everything is just so backwards and disgusting and it's just horrible.
Well, that's where like
I remember when I was in
schools
high school, back in the year '98, bisexuality was so popular, and I just found it really disgusting.
Yeah, we were talking about well, first of all, I don't think bisexuality exists at all. I don't think lesbians exist. I think gays exist. I think homosexuals exist because they have a disorder because of the fallen state of mankind. Like I have a disorder that I'm a drug addict and I can't do drugs without destroying my life. I think these people have a desire to be disgusting sodomites, but
Yeah.
they shouldn't engage in that, and we should advocate for them to not give in to their wicked desires. But bisexual, I don't think so. I don't see how you could be attracted to both men and women in the same way. It doesn't make any sense. And lesbians, I think lesbians are just girls who like have like because girls are insane that they don't see it as like bad to because of society doesn't see lesbians as bad as gays, I guess, or whatever. So that's why you see so many girls be like, oh, like you want to see me make out with my friend and stuff like that. It's like, oh, you're a lesbian? Like, no, it's just fun, huh? You know, it's like, no, you're just there's something wrong with you. So I don't really believe
Well,
In
in
I'm
the
order
pretty.
existence of
You can be a
lesbians.
It
slut.
could
in
also
order for a
wait.
man to be
Oh, sorry.
gay, he
But
has
it could
to
also be
like
that they just want
sodomize
male
before a
attention
lesbian.
because
It's nothing.
you
They
know a
don't
lot
put
of
up
guys like to want like look at that.
Yeah, exactly. That's it's for seeking male attention. There were so many girls in college that I got to make out with their friends. I'm not proud of this, obviously. It's
Yeah.
degenerate, but I'm saying it was so easy because they don't care and they know that guys think it's hot, it's cool or hot or
That's
whatever. You know,
hot,
like
bro. Yo,
bro,
that's
yo,
so cool, man.
this is how
That's
stupid
the
girls are,
point,
bro.
dude.
Right? This is
That's
how
the
stupid
point
girl.
of
There was
it.
this girl who told me she got her nipples pierced, right? And
Oh,
I said, I don't believe you. And what do you think happened, right? That's how fucking stupid girls are. And I don't even think it's stupid. I think it's just like
yeah.
consciously being a whore and like just wanting validation from guys, you know? And there was a girl that was the second time that worked where I said I don't believe you was that I went over this girl's room or whatever and she's told me that she kissed her roommate or whatever and I said I don't believe you and she brought her roommate in and started kissing. Like the girls are just so disgusting, such disgusting creatures. They need to be put on a leash, honestly. Like
They really do.
hold on, I got
They're weird.
is there a
They
Discord
might
link?
they might appreciate that actually.
Anybody who is
They might
watching
appreciate
on YouTube that wants to ask me questions or talk, go to t.me/Spexo and join the live stream and you can ask me questions. Do I attend TLM Byzantine right? No, but I am considering transferring rights to Byzantine because there is a possibility that I might discern a vocation becoming a Byzantine priest, maybe in the future, because that's the only way that I could remain married and become a priest. I'm currently in high school, and I'm thankful every day that I found Christ and that I'm a Catholic convert. Absolutely, amen. That's awesome. My teacher defended the church burnings in Canada. Your teacher is a whore. I think the church really suffered because of the sexual abuse against children by homosexual priests. Another way that homosexuality has subverted a traditional institution. No, because the institution has over 1 billion people in it. Any institution that has 1 billion people in it that is worldwide is going to have scandals. It's going to have bad people in it. And the thing with the homosexual priest and the pedophilia, there's no justifying that. Of course, there's been scandals and stuff like that. But we didn't allow homosexuals in the clergy, whether they were abstinent or not, until like the 1950s or 60s or something like that. And then they let bishops decide that, right? So once that started happening, that's when the pedophilia accusations started coming about. Now, there is pedophilia in the Catholic Church, and there are corrupt clergies, and anybody who is a pedophile, I think one of the popes from like the 1700s or something said that if a priest is caught engaging in homosexual activity, they should be burned at the stake, right? Maybe we need to bring that back. But when you see people try to sensationalize pedophilia in the Catholic Church, you have to ask yourself, well, there's more pedophilia in public schools. There's more child molestations from stepdads and all these other institutions. There's more pedophilia in Brooklyn from Orthodox Jews than all of the Catholic Church, right? So why do you think they're purposely promoting all of this stuff with Catholics? Because they hate the Catholic Church, because they want people to push away from the Catholic Church, because Catholic Church is the true church of God, right? So while the sensationalization, if that's the word, I don't know, whatever, of pedophilia in the Catholic Church definitely pushed people away, that's not the reason. The reason is the media attention around it, because they are purposely focusing on the Catholic Church when it's done in far worse places and far more. All right. I just went on like a 5-minute rant about pedophilia.
Nice.
So I guess to kind of add on, I think to kind of explain why we're in the predicament we're in, I guess since that's what we've been talking about, right? I mean, it's kind of normy to say like it's all started in the 60s, which it kind of did in a sense, but like, during like with the mid 20th century, people's vices have been slowly been accepted through government and then through culture, and and it just slowly just started to be like that. I mean, look what happened with with the gay marriage thing. None of this, what we're seeing right now, wouldn't have happened, couldn't have happened if it wasn't for the legalization of that, of gay marriage,
Hmm. Right.
So
Yeah, I would.
it's slowly culminating, and it's gonna eventually explode in one way or another.
Well, the 1960s was definitely like it accelerated because you had the counterculture revolution, the sexual revolution. You had what the immigration, the Hart-Celler Act, immigration, the rock and roll revolution, all of these stuff, the like sexual freedom, liberation, all this stuff. When was Roe v. Wade? Was that 70s or 60s? But around that time, you had all of these.
70s.
73.
so.
Yeah.
1973.
So you had all of these
73.
all of these things one after the other, and it just accelerated the decline towards decadence. But the start of everything, of all this degeneracy, started in 1517 with the Protestant Reformation, because that led to the Enlightenment, right? Which the Enlightenment was the first time in history that it allowed non-Christians and secular people or whatever to get in positions of power. And once they got in positions of power, they were able to subvert and deteriorate the natural order of everything. And from there, it just went from one thing to another. But with America, you still had like this traditional community values and semi-Christian values, even though they were mostly Protestants and stuff like that. But once after the 60s came, then it started getting normalized, like this drug culture and this hookup culture and stuff. And it just started deteriorating everything, right? And then once homosexuals stopped being considered mentally ill, because for all of history, since like the beginning of
Yeah.
science, they were
I mean,
considered
they
mentally
are.
ill. They are, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
They have a disorder. Even the Catholic Church teaches still that they are disordered. They have disordered desires, right? So
Nice.
once they started like being accepted and being told that it's okay to engage in that activity, instead of saying like you should stay in the closet and not engage in homosexual behavior even if you have those desires, which is the proper way to say it, right? Like then it just became like a roller coaster of everything being accepted. And now it's just gotten to a point where it's everything that is bad is considered good and positive, and it's just I don't know how much worse it's going to get. Like it's definitely going to be like they're going to start like marrying dogs and saying it's okay to like have sex with, like, I don't know. It's horrible.
I mean, heck, the minor attracted persons, the
Oh,
pedophiles are actually
yeah,
reaching,
that
like.
sign that
So I
that
mean, and
professor.
we used to joke about this stuff too. I remember back in the day when I was like a normie liberal. We talked about like even with the gay marriage thing, talking about like, oh man, everyone's gonna get married now, everyone and everything, and look what's happening.
Hmm. And
I
now
mean,
it's so
slowly
bad.
gonna creep in there.
It's so bad. I know this isn't like anything revolutionary or whatever, but American conservatism is not conservative at all. It's just it's a previous form of liberalism and libertarianism mixed together, basically,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh well, of course homosexuality is fine or whatever. They could do whatever they want to do, but this tranny stuff is bad. And it's like, no, all of it is bad. Like all of it shouldn't be tolerated. You know, like it
I
used.
mean, I blame Reagan, man.
Yeah, Reagan was horrible with the
I
amnesty and all
blame
the stuff. He was
Reagan.
he was the
Hollywood
beginning of
killing
like
Yeah,
movies.
the
the
neocon.
boomer conservatives, quote unquote, worship him,
Hmm.
but he was the probably the worst when it comes to, because he was the one who really combined conservatism and libertarianism.
Yep,
Even
he
stated
started
saying that libertarian.
yeah,
Hmm.
he was the first like neocon president, basically. He wasn't the first neocon ever, but like he's what made neoconservatism a thing, like where it's like about freedom
Yep.
and low taxes and legal immigration and all this stuff. That's not what conservatism is. And like now you have like all these conservatives who are fine with the vast amount of degeneracy that liberals are fine with or whatever, but they just want to conserve a previous form of it. And what they don't understand is that you can't just pick an arbitrary point to stop. It's either not okay, none of it's okay, or it's all okay. Because if you're not getting your morality directly from God, then your morality doesn't matter, right? So why are you saying that? If you're saying that gay marriage is okay when God says it's not, then what's your argument against transsexual children, right? Why is one thing wrong and one thing right when you don't have an authoritative declaration of what is and isn't wrong from God himself, right?
It's freedom.
And then you get,
This is why. This is why it's very important to focus more on morality rather than law.
Mhm.
Because if you see that law is immoral, and what is considered moral is unlawful.
Absolutely.
So you have to understand that we have to fight against the system because it's so corrupt, even since the beginning. Like the idea of America, do you really think it was to preserve Christianity? I think it was to dismantle the church in every shape or form.
Mhm.
And it was to me, it was a Judeo-Masonic experiment
It was
that was
absolutely.
pushed on the Christian people.
All of the
And
founding fathers were deist Freemasons, and
yeah,
like whatever you could say the
Thomas
Constitution.
Jefferson denounced his faith.
Hmm.
He denounced his faith. He became a deist,
Hmm.
and they believe in a higher being,
They
absolutely.
just don't
But it
believe
was
that
never
they
about
interfere with the earth, right?
America was found by Jews and Freemasons, but it was
Hmm.
built by Christians. That's what they
Exactly,
found.
that right there, what you said. It was built by Christians. The people of America were Christians, right? So that's what America is. Right? America is a pan-European Christian nation. It's not about what the government is. It's not about governments fall all the time. Italy and Germany went through fascism and communism and a republic and all this stuff, but they still remained Germany and Italy because of the people, right? It wasn't about the government. So we
Yeah,
could talk about like how the Constitution had some good things in it or whatever, and maybe they had good intentions or whatever, but it's a failed experiment, right? The Constitution didn't save us from where we are now, and it's not about preserving the constitutional law or anything like that. It's about doing what's best for our nation and preserving our historic nation because we have a right to exist. And like, if the Constitution isn't going to allow that, then fuck the Constitution, you know?
Yeah,
that
but
pushed
how you
forth for theocracy. That's what I say.
that would be awesome. But what was I gonna? Fuck, I was gonna say, damn it, I was gonna say
The
something.
idea
Oh yeah,
of liberties and freedoms was to give pedophiles and prostitutes a podium. Like
What'd you
this
say?
is
yeah.
what we
Well,
see.
What'd you say?
I said the ideas of liberties and freedom were to give prostitutes and pedophiles a podium.
Hmm.
Like it had nothing to do with protecting Christian men or anything of the sort,
Hmm.
or their values, their ideas. It was to just,
But you
degeneralize.
have to also have to understand that during when the founding fathers were here, it was 90% white and 99% Christian, right? So there was different denominations of Protestantism, but it was all Christian. So if they were talking about freedom of religion and all this stuff, do you think that they were advocating like they expected this atheistic materialism to come to fruition? Like I think they were protecting
Well,
Christianity implicitly. Like I think they should have been less ambiguous
I
about it.
think I think the individuals, realizing that they were a part of a Christian community, were trying to protect it, but not the founders. The founders, if anything, they were trying to exploit the Christians. All the blood, sweat, and tears came from Christians. It didn't
Hmm.
come from the Freemasons or Jews.
Right,
And if
but
anything,
you look, George
Freemasons gave
Washington was a Freemason.
agency,
He was out there fighting with them, though.
but he gave them free agency. He gave them agency. He gave Jews agency in America. The moment they said freedom of religion, that went against the First Amendment commandment right there.
Hmm.
And that's giving them a chance to build their synagogues.
Yeah, that's
That's
true.
giving a chance for someone to build any temple that goes against Christianity.
Yeah, that's a good
So
point.
the idea of America, yeah, it's like that's
I
why I
like this
kind of hate.
conversation.
Hmm.
This conversation's awesome, actually. You're
Yeah.
Yeah,
Panic Room. You're a really smart dude. Like, geez, you must be like full on into this. Are you? May I ask? Are you Spaniard by any chance? Because I know a lot of Spaniards that are like that
well,
as well.
well, I see myself because I was born in America as 100% burger. So it's like it's just we are Americanized to a
Hmm.
point where we reject anything else that isn't American, even if it's Spain, Italy. I mean, you see it with just the communities in America, like the Italian community at one time was very strong, very
Hmm.
powerful. But
Yeah, I can.
during I think two forms of white flight, they call it, they no
Hmm.
longer saw themselves as Italian and they saw themselves as white men fleeing their communities, and they forgot about their people and they went to another community. So they're safe in the suburbs, but they're not surrounded by Italians. They're surrounded by white men of different ethnicities,
Hmm.
speaking of probably English altogether. And for some reason, that unity wasn't there anymore. So it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, you can say, yeah, ethnically Spain, but then you can also say, um, nationally, I'm in America. Like
national.
I was
Yeah,
Yeah,
raised
yeah. A lot of
in
people don't
America.
understand the difference between nationality, race, and ethnicity, and it's really, really annoying, right? Like, obviously, like for
Wignats.
me,
A majority of them.
even regular normal people or whatever, like my nationality is American, my race is European or colloquially white, and my ethnicity is Irish and German, right? People don't differentiate that at all sometimes. Like you could say like if somebody like for example, my wife is from Brazil, but she's ethnically Italian or whatever, right? Like people don't understand, well, wait, what do you mean how is she Italian if she's from Brazil? And it's like, okay, well, Jared Taylor was born in Japan, but he's ethnically Anglo, right? Like it's like, well, how could he be Anglo if he was born in Japan? Like it doesn't make any sense. Like and these people just
Well,
don't understand this.
well,
But
there's
but the thing
deliberate
is,
muddling
there
of
are these
the
pillars of
definitions there.
ethnicity that
What do
people
you mean?
don't grasp. So, sorry.
What'd you say, Frederick? There's deliberate muddying of the definitions.
There's yeah, there's deliberate muddying of the definitions of like, oh, you come here and you're American and we're all the American
Yeah,
race and
we're
you
all
know.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
this
Well, no,
reminds
all
me
right.
of my high school years. I used to be like that. Oh,
Yeah,
We
but
all
that's
bleed
but that's
red.
kind of the yeah, but that's kind of the there's a deliberate muddying of that the strong ethnic ties, and to a certain extent, like that's a natural thing of like you come over and you assimilate to the culture, and the culture is predominantly Anglo. So
Hmm.
even if you're Italian, you're gonna start over generations. That's what kind of happens. You
Yep.
assimilate, right? And you know, but there's there's a deliberate muddying of like, and this was because even back in the day, we were talking about the Irish, right? When the Irish were coming over, you know, the Anglos didn't want them here because all the same things that we talk about today. And in many ways they were right because they got kicked out of their predominantly Anglo cities. Like New York became very Irish and very Italian. Boston became very Irish, and that is also coincidentally Tammany Hall politics, where the Democrats gained strongholds. Right, so there was this
hmm
deliberate muddying of the waters. Yeah,
Well, you mentioned the
of
Irish. I mean, look
ethnicity.
at the Irish. They didn't speak English at one time. They spoke Gaelic, and they had a connection to their land. And it's like all of that goes away once you become anglicized or Americanized. And it's withering away. That's why I say like 100% burger means that I'm not going to eat paella. I'm going to eat burger, you know? So it's
but
like, it's,
Spexo, when you were talking about the how Nazi Germany, not Germany and Italy went through like not Nazism or fascism or communism, don't
Yeah.
forget about Poland. Poland went through all that too.
Oh yeah,
A
of course,
lot
and
of
they
it
still.
actually.
That's what the overarching point was that different countries can go through different forms of government and still remain the
Yeah.
same country because the people don't change, and that's another point of demographics where you can't maintain the same country and radically shift the demographics, and also this whole thing about like whiteness and stuff like that. It's such a colloquial term now because for the not the vast majority, but for the beginning of America, the only people that were really considered white were Anglos, right? And then every other
Yeah.
ethnicity, Italians and Irish and all these stuff, they were basically not segregated, but they were naturally in their own communities, right? And then E. Michael Jones talks about this, how they basically purposely destroyed ethnic communities to try and mix all of these ethnicities to make this like one colloquial termed white race of Americans, right? And basically Americanize these
Wigness.
ethnicities, right?
uh,
And
slaughter of cities.
yeah,
That
slaughter
we're
of cities.
talking
Yep. And so basically now America, the white Americans, for the most part, are this proto ethnicity. They're like this own ethnicity where they don't have those roots of the ethnicity that they came from, when their ancestors immigrated here. So now everybody doesn't have those roots anymore, which also leads them into things like paganism and other modern secular type stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the public schools did that.
Oh yeah, like the idea of just um Protestants going against the Catholics and discriminating against the Irish and Italian until like the 90s or like the late 1800s was because they already chose like who's quote unquote white in their country. And
Mhm.
believe it or not, in 1870 Jews were considered white before the Irish or the Italian.
Mhm.
How insane is that? Or they were given agency at least.
Yeah.
They
Well,
were
I
they were
mean,
definitely
Jews throughout history were like before the Enlightenment, of course, were never considered part of the countries that they were in. They were always considered outsiders and always kept in their own ghettos and stuff like that. And like all the tries to try to assimilate them usually failed, and that's one of the reasons that they kept going from country to country and getting kicked out. Where?
Yeah, the first prime minister had said that a Jew's golden ticket is a passport. There's no such thing as a French Jew or a Russian Jew. There's a Jew that lives in Russia and a Jew that lives in France.
Oh, I just got
Yeah.
a $20 donation from Manny. Thank you very much. I recently found your channel. Keep
Ooh.
up the good work. God bless. Thank you very much, bro. Appreciate that.
Ooh,
I never
$20. Salute.
expect to get any money, so that's pretty cool. Thank you. All right. Anyway, go
Oh
on.
sevens in chat.
Mhm.
Oh sevens in chat.
Can't wait to receive communion on the tongue from Spexo someday. I'm ethnically Italian, but if I were to tell an Italian I was just like them, they would laugh at me more than likely. Yeah, it's that's true. Actually, though, like American
What?
Italians, for at least from my experience, like Americanized Italians are only like second or third generations usually, maybe fourth if they're really going further. But like they always have those roots where like their grandma is still their nonna, and like they have Sunday dinner and they have fish on Christmas, and they still maintain those Italian traditions, you know. So at least they have more
Yep.
rooted culture from their ethnicity than a lot of other people.
Italian here. I'm
mhm.
Italian here. I'm not like I don't speak Italian. My mom doesn't, but my grandma, she speaks fluently Italian because my mom was born in Italy. My mom's family are all from Italy. They all immigrated here. We have, Sunday traditions, pasta, fish, no meat on Fridays, all that stuff.
Based.
You eat a lot of
They
pasta.
still keep. Yeah, we eat a lot of pasta on Sundays. A
You
lot.
eat a lot of Alfredo sauce in your pasta.
Alfredo sometimes, but mostly tomato sauce.
Alfredo's an American sauce. It's not even Italian.
Yeah, I know, but we do that sometimes, not all the
But
time
that's
though.
the thing. Like people think that by eating Alfredo sauce, it's Alfredo. You know, like you have this beautiful, like this name, but no one knows who's Alfredo in Italy. Like,
Yeah.
who's this guy? So
That's why
good, though.
that's why when I say I'm Italian, I'm careful. I'm like I'm an American. Like I'm an American. I'm in America, but ethnically I'm Italian. If I said I was an Italian in Italy, like whoever said that, they would laugh in my face.
Oh,
They'll be like, "No, you're not."
we got a
I'm
base black
Spanish,
man in
but
chat.
I
Ooh,
definitely
a base
learned-
black guy in
Yeah,
chat.
Kevin, you
Awesome.
there? Yo, Kevin. Unmute your mic. I allowed you to speak. No? There you go.
Yeah,
What's up, Spexa?
What
I'm
up?
Spanish, but I definitely learned Italian. You should definitely learn the language of your family.
I want to
Absolutely.
criminalize every language except for Latin and Aramaic. All right, that would be my goal as king. Only the languages that Christ spoke in Mel Gibson's The Passion of the Christ are the language that we're allowed to
Didn't
speak.
Jesus
spoke everything,
also
bro. He's
spoke-
God. He could speak any
He
language.
spoke Greek. Yeah, he spoke Greek at one point too. He spoke Greek as
All right.
well, which is like, damn.
Greek,
I think.
Jesus was like Christopher Waltz from Inglourious Bastards. The man spoke like
Yeah.
languages. It was incredible.
Yo, I
But-
didn't know that
but
in a
I'll
scene.
say
Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, I'm sorry.
In a scene in Passion of the Christ when he's talking to Pontius Pilate, and Pontius Pilate talks to him in like the other language. I don't know what the language. Let's just say he like talks to him in Aramaic, and then Jesus answers him in Greek. I didn't know that until I watched like a behind the scenes thing, and like the point of that was to show that like Christ could speak every language or whatever.
Yeah.
Damn.
I mean,
Damn.
I think that's incredible, you know, and it's great to know that Mel Gibson did this, and I would love to see Mel Gibson do another movie. I think he's doing Rothschild next.
Yo, you know what's weird about Mel Gibson though? I love Mel Gibson. Don't get me wrong, right? But I gotta try and say this in a non bad way. He put out a movie where he plays Santa Claus, right? Who is a like I don't know degenerate alcoholic who married to a black Mrs. Claus who has to defend himself.
I saw that
from
one.
and now look, I'm not like a purity spiral or kind of guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy like movies like Elf and stuff like that where it's obviously not the Catholic Saint Nicholas or whatever, but it's like really, dude, like you put out the best Catholic movie ever, and now you're like. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. You're playing a perversion.
Hollywood.
That was his Hollywood penance, man. He had to.
Yeah.
You got to play the game. You got to play the game. I saw that movie too.
Is it good?
Before I became.
Is it good?
No.
They were like
even as a normie back then, it sucked.
They were like, all right, if you want to come back into Hollywood, you have to make out with a black girl on camera and pretend to be a perversion of a Catholic saint.
I mean, look, on those interviews, he retracted his statements about a certain group of people. He had to in order to keep. I mean, unfortunately.
But aside from that, he's been saying some cringe shit though.
Who?
Like,
Mel Gibson? Mel Gibson?
Yeah, like
What'd he say?
he said he didn't vote for either Trump or Hillary in 2016,
Well,
and then he was like against the wall.
That's
Like he made
based though.
some side comments that was like,
did
you
he?
know,
Well, I just saw the
I
thing
don't
He
where he
know.
was
said
like, I'm
Man,
appealing
we
to
lost him.
who?
no. The guy asked him, "Who are you voting for?" And he says, "I'll just leave it up to God."
Oh,
That's what
he said I'm appealing to God. He said I don't really like either one of them. I'm appealing
Right.
to God. I'm whatever, something like that. Which whatever. I honestly, it's probably better for him not to get political because if he endorsed Trump, they would have just added that onto like, oh,
They
anti-Semite
would have
Mel Gibson,
blacklisted his ass.
anti-Semite Mel Gibson endorses Donald Trump or something like that, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I don't get me wrong. I like Mel Gibson. I just I just thought that was
They're
very
gonna.
very
I mean,
weird.
they're gonna hold it over
Don't
his head regardless. I
don't
mean, it's like
forget.
he was
Yeah.
like on the Stephen Colbert show when he did that. What was that fucking movie? The World War II movie he did, Hacksaw Ridge.
Right.
And like
Yeah.
Stephen Colbert, like a little weasel, instead of just coming out and bringing it up, he was just like, "You've made some indiscretions in the past." I'm like, "What a faggot, man!"
I liked.
Stephen Colbert. What a great Catholic.
Yeah, awesome Catholic.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Great
Is he
Don't
Catholic?
Catholic.
forget, he also he didn't dress drag, but he did kind of dress like a woman and what women want. I mean, the guy was like, this Chad with all these women, but he was dressed kind of in drag, wearing like pantyhose and stuff. They do this in Hollywood.
Hollywood quota,
They
man.
do.
This
Yo,
is a Hollywood
there's this
quota.
thing where
You gotta
they
dress like a woman.
Dave Chappelle called this out
Humiliation
years
ritual.
ago. Yep, exactly. Dave Chappelle called this out, and it's true. It's true. They make if you're a black guy and you become a famous movie star, they will put you in a dress. They will make you wear a
Wesley
dress.
Snipes.
Right? Yep,
Wesley
exactly.
Snipes looked up in a dress.
Will
That,
Smith's first movie, Six
yeah.
Degrees of Separation. He was like making out with some white dude.
Will Smith made out with a
Okay,
guy.
but
I did not know
If
that.
you're in Hollywood and you're black, they're gonna make you a gay dude.
Oh man, I mean, I was
First of
already
all,
starting not to like Will Smith because he's such a cuck to his wife. He basically, you saw that shit with his wife, where he
Yeah, I
Yeah, his
did.
wife's
yeah.
Yep.
Oh my
dude,
gosh,
he's
bro.
Will
he's
Smith
weak
is such a
for like
pathetic
weak
pussy,
towards his
dude. He's so
children. His
pathetic.
own children
And
are
just look no
degenerate,
further than
and he
his
just doesn't
kids.
care.
Like,
Oh, his kid, Jaden. Oh yeah, his kid's a
yeah.
weirdo, dude. He's a
I
fucking
mean,
Even his
you know
weirdo.
what's
even
so
his daughter.
funny?
Sorry
mean,
for cursing, but
Dude,
No, you're
what's
good.
crazy? His wife Jada used to be with Tupac, and now she's with Will Smith. You know
Yo,
what I mean? So it's just
Tupac was like an
yeah,
exotic dancer
yeah.
before he was a rapper. Did you know that?
oh,
Whoa,
no,
get out
Yep,
of
no,
here!
yep.
No,
I believe it.
Yep. Hold on. I gotta see if I can.
You know,
Oh no.
Tupac
I
is
believe it.
actually like originally from like Baltimore. He's actually from the East Coast, but he
Exa-
claimed the
Yeah.
West Coast when he got older. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was my friend showed
yeah,
this to me and I didn't believe it at all, and then he showed me this picture. Oh my god, I gotta see if I can find it somewhere. But yeah,
Dr. Dre actually too. Dr. Dre too. He was part of like this dance troupe. But look up a
Oh
picture of
yeah.
him. You'll see it. You'll see. Like,
I love how we all
easy.
know
He
who
brought
these
it
old
back
school
up during
rappers
his
are, dude.
Yeah, it's World Class Wrecking
yes,
Crew.
yeah, here
He
we
has
go.
like the lipstick and all that shit. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. I got
Yeah.
around the oral history of Tupac's underground years. Yeah, dude,
Oh
this
boy.
dude.
Oh.
Oh my.
I love how
I don't
Here
even
we
want to show
go.
this
I
because
love-
Now gets to
Yeah.
Tupac.
it's really gross.
People
Well, I mean,
still
they're
haven't
very
figured
very
out.
similar. They're very similar. Very
People
I
flame.
love
still
how
haven't figured
we're
out that
all
a
at
lot of their
They,
famous
they get
rappers are all
Oh,
following a
I'm gonna
narrative. It's not
show
all
this. I'm
real.
gonna show this on screen real quick. Hold on, let me just
No.
make sure.
oh,
Oh my
I'm
I
god,
love
so
yeah,
how we're
happy for
all
Homo
that's
sapien.
Bro,
oh my
you're
gosh.
ruining my childhood, bro.
Do you see it? You guys watch? You guys see it?
No.
Oh my gosh.
Hold up. Let me go on. Let me
I wish I did.
let me go on. That's
Dude.
so
Okay,
bad.
so there was
Spexo,
this
can I
thing.
have a request? Can I be unbanned from your chat, please?
Who is this? Who's that?
That's me, Ray Gregory. What are your admins banned me?
Why? What did you
I
break a
didn't say
rule?
anything bad.
You-
I didn't say
Oh
anything bad.
no.
Yeah.
Oh come on. Is that
Oh,
actually him?
That's really.
I can't. I'm done. I'm done. I
Who's
can't.
banned? Yeah,
That's
I'll unban you. Just hold on. What's your name?
that's
Ray
gross.
Gregory.
Gregory. Let me see
Wait,
if
can
I
you
can
unban
find
me
it.
too?
Ray Gregory Santos.
Ray
The one
Gregory.
Asian guy with the glasses. You'll see me.
I love how we're all at an age where we all know who like Tupac is and these like early 2000s bands. Like we've all listened to them in our lives and we
All right.
all know who they are and we're like, "Oh boy."
Yeah, Santos. All right, Santos, you're unblocked.
I'm
Who was the other one?
I'm a millennial. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Who's
Me,
the other guy
please.
that wanted to be unblocked?
Me.
What's your name?
you're
American
the band too.
American.
America Appreciator.
All right, listen. I'm gonna unban you. It doesn't. Okay, America. I'm gonna unban you, but just follow the rules. All right. No Wignat
Yeah.
stuff. No
Trust me.
racial
Hey,
epithets.
I didn't say anything bad. You know what made me? I got irritated because I think you posted something about like Pope Francis, and I was like, Thank God I'm Orthodox, and then I got banned.
Yeah, well,
That's not bad.
that'll do it. That'll do
That's
it.
nothing
Yeah,
terrible.
I don't know.
That's
That'll
nothing
do it.
Do it.
terrible. I didn't say anything bad about the church.
That was
Hey,
anti-Catholic rhetoric.
I attend a Western Rite parish, man. Western Rite. Come on.
Suspect
Oh, that's
Come on,
cool.
man.
civilization.
Yeah.
But
No
but
heresy.
Thank you.
going
Thank you.
Who was talking?
going back to the Hollywood humiliation ritual, like they do this with anyone that touches, the hall of the red carpet,
Mhm.
you know, and
Yeah.
it's like it's such a shame because I know that there's Christian actors out there like Kurt Cameron and Kevin Sorbo,
Mhm.
but
Chris Pratt.
they've
Chris Pratt as
Yo,
well.
you know Chris Pratt went on.
oh
He won. Chris Pratt. He's in the Marvel movies. He's
didn't he
Guardians
divorce
of.
his wife?
Yeah, which is really
Hmm.
cringe and gay, and he's probably a Protestant
That's
too. But honestly,
unfortunate.
whatever. But he did. He went on
He's
stage.
Protestant.
Yeah, of course. He went on stage and he said this is all thanks to Jesus Christ, right? And then he said God is real and He loves you, right? And when they aired the speech, they cut out anything about Jesus Christ. So all he said
Of
was
course.
God is real and He loves you, and that was already a controversial statement, of course, in the eyes of Hollywood and all these liberals and stuff like that. But they cut out Jesus Christ. This is all because of Jesus Christ or something like that. Like, so they don't want any message of Jesus Christ out there. So honestly,
Not
anybody
at
who
all.
is like promoting Christ or whatever is like ostensibly an ally because like
He
they hate Christ so much.
he
Well,
also
Dr. E. Michael Jones, Dr. E. Michael Jones had like this little talk. Can't remember where he did. He probably had this talk a few times, but like he did one where he talked about like kind of like this war that was going on in Hollywood from like the 30s to like the 60s, where it was run by, I want to say it was called like the Decency Society or something like that, run by Catholic bishops, or at least a lot of films or scripts or whatever had to be approved by Catholic bishops because they just didn't want like full on degeneracy on film. But then the moment that and it was basically just kind of like this, I guess, war struggle between these Catholic bishops and these Jewish interest groups. And then the moment the bishops let go of Hollywood in the '60s, these Jewish groups grabbed onto it. First film that they make has just bare titties.
Yep.
It's just the funniest thing.
Well, of course, the
Basically,
first
the first thing that they have is pornography.
was what?
Pornography.
Oh yeah.
And that's basically what they have in the first one.
Yeah, I remember
Well, that
watching
was
this
the
documentary about Weimar Germany or whatever, and not saying it was right or anything like that, but there was these Jewish producers who were putting the first homosexual couple and homosexual kiss in movies, and but yeah, so but what Michael Jones talks
It,
about, it's very accurate, but it's not just Jews, it's this whole ideology of liberalism and trying to go against the natural order, so and it's gone to a
Oh
point.
yeah,
I don't.
I get that.
Yeah.
the thing is, right? The idea of Hollywood starting was a bunch of Jews telling these guys that they wanted to buy land in California to build churches. So I think it was going to be called Holywood or something like that, right?
Really?
And they told them this, but then it just turns out they were just building these studios to, promote their degeneracy. Now, the reason why they did that, it's because land in New York, where I guess they were doing movies that cost too much, so they decided to go down west
Mhm.
and form Hollywood. So even the beginning of Hollywood was deception,
You know,
and this is going through everything that the Judeo-Masonic order is for. It's about deception,
mhm,
and deception is comfort. So whenever you feel the most comfort, you need to leave
mhm.
because it's not about when you're a Christian, it's not about comfort. It's about struggling. It's about suffering. It's about surrendering unto Him.
Yep,
And
asceticism,
these,
self-denial.
yeah. So it's like, humble yourself. And it's hard to humble yourself when you're surrounded by an egocentric movement or idea that you do want to be proud in the sense of where you're from and who you are. But you also need to humble yourself and realize that it's the Lord above who has the answer. You are just man. So
Yeah,
I don't seek man for answers. I
very true.
seek Christ.
And so based Polish, $5 says Vivo Cristo Rey. Based, thank you. And what were we talking? Oh, we were talking about the Seth Rogen Santa Inc. thing yesterday, right? And like, so first I was like, obviously this is disgusting and horrific or whatever, but now what I'm starting to see is I think that this was done on purpose to purposely get a reaction. I think this whole thing is bait because you have these overwhelmingly Jewish people, right? Like the whole entire production and everything, they're either Jewish or Black Lives Matter supporters, right? And they're putting out this Christmas thing that is completely progressive, anti-Christian, profane, disgusting, right? And all of the comments on their video were anti-Semitic jokes, right? And now Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman are like exposing these white supremacists and stuff like that, right? Anybody who is offended by getting their Christian traditions mocked and made perverted and profane is a white supremacist, right? So now Sarah Silverman quote tweeted this guy saying, for all those who say Jews are white, yes, white Jews experience white privilege often for sure. Search Santa Inc. Jews on this app and see what these white people think, right? And the tweet that she quoted was the whole sorry saga shows you can't criticize rich Jews. Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman, both Jewish. Okay, that's bad. Both Jewish trash. Oh no, both Jewish trash Christmas, Christian beliefs, and white people. When they are criticized for this and people point it out, they are labeled anti-Semites. It's pathetic. So nothing he said was bad in there. I thought he was saying Jewish trash, but he was saying that they're both Jewish and they trash Christmas, right? And he's saying that if you criticize them, you're labeled anti-Semitic, right? And Sarah Silverman is quote tweeting this, calling them white supremacist and anti-Semitic. So it's just like super bait. And they showed the elf who is in Santa Inc. and the elf looks like a stereotypical like Jewish caricature, right? Like it looks like the merchant meme, right? And it's like I feel like they're
It looks
purposely
like Sarah Silverman.
yeah. Well,
Guys,
yeah, that's what I said.
Guys, pay attention to some. I think some people indirectly try to tell us the truth through Hollywood. Many of the fictional fantasy shows and movies you'll see, a lot of the certain bankers have a certain characteristic, and you'll see, and those characteristics are portrayed as goblins or some other type of creature.
But what I'm
Like in
saying,
Harry Potter.
I'm trying to be careful with my language right
yeah.
now.
But what I'm saying
something
is
to
that
keep in mind of.
what I'm saying is that like I think they did this so blatantly and so overtly, where they purposely are trying to get pushback so that they could basically play victims. You know what I'm saying? Which is not like out of the ordinary, but like at first I thought it was just like it's just them being the degenerate, pervert, anti-Christian blasphemers that they are. But I think that this is smarter than that. I think that it was like actually purposely done so blatantly obvious where you can't even deny it, that so many people are gonna push back against this that they're gonna be able to use this as like look how much hate there is in the world, you know?
Well, hold on. I did want to. You said something about how they censored part of Chris Pratt's speech about he was talking about God. Yeah. Well, when this was a couple of years ago, I had a teacher that like once or twice brought up Jesus Christ during class. Not even during class. It was after class. He was talking to a couple students, and someone went and reported him. And well, he told me this after, but basically he wasn't. They said if someone reported him again, he'd get like fired.
Okay. Because he mentioned Jesus Christ in like a positive way?
Yeah. I mean, he was like talking like to the class because someone asked him a question, right? And he brought up Jesus Christ later. And then someone reported him for that because where I lived, it was like all Indians. Like a bunch of Indians just came over. And they didn't like that, so they reported him, and then they said they were going to fire him if he said it again.
That's
They
crazy.
kept, like, talking about that.
You know, and all these secular schools too, like they don't want to promote any type of religion or anything like that. But then you see all these TikToks of like teachers promoting this gender identity stuff, having the Black Lives Matter flag like above their chalkboard and stuff like that, and saying like, well, if you're offended, then I guess you're just a fascist, you know? And like, how is this allowed? I mean, I know how, but like, it's insane, and the hypocrisy is so obvious, like that you can't mention Jesus Christ, you can't pray, you can't like say anything natural, but you could be an openly homosexual who like considers themselves a they or them and gets mad if you don't use the right pronouns, and have a Black Lives Matter and a tranny flag in the back of your classroom, and that's perfectly fine. And somebody took down the American flag and replaced it with the tranny flag too, I think. And it's just it's so gross. It's
because like they all hire their friends. Like they'll
how long
like,
is
if
that?
It's the liberal person they know, and they'll hire.
Oh, hold on, everybody. All right, one at a time. Let's one at a time.
Oh, sorry.
All right, who was the first one?
No, I was just saying that they hire their friends. Like it's like a whole clique.
In regards to what?
It like I'm talking about like teachers, like when they get into like to hiring people at schools, like they'll hire people that they know are liberal, like regardless of anything else.
Yep. Yeah, I heard
'Cause that's
too
like their priority.
that like I don't know if it was the ADL or some Jewish organization has gotten where they have controlled like a class on like Jewish history in like Christian schools or something. I don't know. I was reading about this before, and I don't remember the exact details, but it's just like, how are they having this power to decide what is taught in private schools? It's so insane.
Yeah.
First thing they say is the Romans killed Jesus, and they were the ones who wanted to kill him the whole time. We were totally innocent.
Yeah, it's so everything is so
I just want
backwards.
to go back to this. Sorry, I just want to go back to this thing. How long was that Christmas promo or whatever, that the Seth Rogen
The tree lighting
trailer? How long was that? How many minutes was it?
A couple minutes. Oh, you talking about the trailer lane?
Well, are you trying to say like there was like a
say that-
Masonic symbol or something in the? Let me see, Santa ink.
No, I'm not going to get into the whole nonsense. I was saying that because I heard like the first few seconds, and once I heard Mary effing, that's it. I just cut it off.
Yeah,
like I couldn't watch it anymore.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I already
it was
know
like a couple of minutes, and it's all about I watched it, and it's just
haven't watched it.
SJW, Baptist stuff.
I hate when people use Christ's name. I know they're saying Christmas, but still, it's like effing Christ. That's what they're really saying, man.
And it's just
like,
they're totally. It's just besides they're perverting Christian tradition and stuff like that, they're also using it to push like vaccines and like just like progressive global homo propaganda. The whole point of the show is that this girl elf wants to be the next Santa Claus because a white man has been Santa for too long. Like that's the purpose of the show, and it's just it's so bad.
Oh my, wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you ever heard Dave Chappelle's joke about a black Santa Claus?
No. What?
Oh boy.
He goes, man, having a black Santa Claus would suck. We wouldn't get our presents till like the 28th.
That's pretty funny.
That's so true. It's so
Man,
true.
you know what really bothers me about Dave, man? I think he's so caught up in like with what the Democrats and liberals want, because he talked about his issue with the trans thing going on. He was saying in one of his like talks, like saying like, oh, it's not the LGBTs, it's not your fault, it's the corporates. It's what corporate wants to do. But corporate is doing what they're doing to you because of the LGBT voices that are being offended by you. So like Dave is even like trying not to blame the LGBT community.
Yeah, well, Dave Chappelle,
issue they've been going through.
He sort of capitulated when it came to the T's.
Dude, everybody, that was so annoying to me when everybody was saying how base Dave Chappelle is because he was making fun of trannies and stuff like that. Like, and all these conservative boomer people were acting like, oh, he's like an ally now or something. And it's like, no, he's not. He's still a liberal. He still hates you. He still hates your values and all of that stuff. And it's like you guys forgot that last year he did an entire special where he cried on stage about George Floyd for an hour. All right. He is not based. He's not our ally. He only gets away with talking about trannies because that is still something new. That is not something that is completely, fully embraced by the establishment line yet. Like, you still are allowed to a certain degree to criticize that stuff. But once you criticize something that is unacceptable to criticize outside of the mainstream, your career is destroyed regardless of how popular or how famous you are. And he was saying these things in his special. He was like, I thought feminists were bull dykes, but then I looked up what feminist means, and it just means that you think that women should have equal rights. And if that's the case, then I am a feminist or whatever. And it's like, no, if feminism means women have equal rights, then I am an anti-feminist. I am a complete anti-feminist, So this guy is not cool. He's not based. He's funny. He used to be really funny, but this whole thing of like idolizing him because he made fun of trannies is so astroturfed and gay.
It's really sad to see that a lot of the comedians that I used to really watch and follow, it will fall for free speech. I mean, like, they're all falling into the left. Even Bill Burr, I think, is getting caught up with that stuff, A lot of the...
Bill Burr's always been a libertarian.
Yeah, but, he's really, falling for it hard. I think Nick DiPaolo would still stay. I wish Patrice O'Neal was still here.
Nick DiPaolo is really, really funny. Like, my friend he sent me a bunch of his stuff, and he was on all these roasts and stuff, and he does a lot of like edgy jokes, and he's really good. I don't know if he still gets away with all the stuff he used to say, but from what I've seen, he's still really good. Oh yeah, okay. Somebody just said in the trailer of Santa Inc. they say more American children believe in Santa than in vaccines or the Holocaust, right? Yeah, okay. And let's not comment exactly on that. And you know what, Sarah Silverman?
I really want to.
Yeah, let's.
No comment.
Sarah Silverman went on stage for a comedy show and said they blame the Jews for killing Christ. I hope we did kill him. I would kill him again. Right. So these are the people that are playing the victims like that. These people are disgusting and evil. And
you can just tell from the way they talk.
Mm-hmm.
Like that they're disgusting.
Oh, they're very vulgar. Like the language they use, it's definitely Hollywood. Like anytime I hear somebody being so profane and vulgar, it's like Hollywood again. It's like they're reading a script from Quentin Tarantino. It's like
It really is.
This is not the way we should actually communicate. You know?
You guys hear me?
Yep.
Can I just interrupt with some scripture real quick?
Let's do it.
Amen.
Ephesians 6:12. Okay. King James Version. Well, we wrestle.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, we'll correct you after. Go on.
I could pick a different translation.
No, it's fine.
I'm trying to meet you halfway.
You're good.
All right, whatever. Well, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in the high places. I can keep going, but I'm gonna spare you. Like the chapter of Ephesians 6 is phenomenal. I really like it, and I'm inspired by it daily.
That's awesome, and very based. But I would recommend the Dewey Rames version for Bible reading.
Hold up,
Dewey Rames. All right.
We have this in the Bible.
Wow. Who Panic? What translation do you like?
I read the Dewey Rames version. You want that?
I do the King James version.
Oh no. Are you Catholic?
No.
That explains it.
The King James is like translated specifically.
My family's like ultra Catholic. Yeah, but no.
But we like Catholic translations. But it probably says similar things for that. What was it?
Dewey Rames says. You want that version too, or have it over here?
What was it? Ephesians what?
Ephesians 6:12.
Ephesians 6:12. Okay.
For our wrestling is not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and power, against the rulers of this world and the darkness, against the spirits of wickedness in the high places. Therefore take unto you the armor of God, that you may be able to resist in the evil day, and to stand in all things perfect.
Based.
Amen.
So true.
Amen.
Because that's what I think. I mean, that's the only thing that gives me like peace is like when I'm struggling with these outside things I really can't control, and I'm just depressed by usually like Blackfield or whatever. I just remember who I am in Christ,
right?
And like understand what the struggle actually is. Like this is spiritual warfare.
It's like it goes down to good and evil, good versus evil. You know, the only thing that we ultimately have control over is ourselves and our eternal salvation, basically, right? Like going to hell is a choice. We don't get sent to hell, you know. And if we could focus on God and make our life about God, there's never a reason to despair. There's never a reason to get depressed or whatever. Everything going outside in the temporal world, we could try our best to fix it and hope that it gets better and stuff like that. And it's our duty to try that or whatever. But ultimately, the main goal should be getting ourselves to heaven and trying to get other people to heaven.
Like let them mock us, basically. Like I don't really care about that. I mean, it's fun to fight and argue with people online or in real life too. Yeah, it's fun to argue, but at the end of the day, like you can do this with confidence when you know who you are and what the battle really is.
Yeah, of course. And, well, it's also about just exposing sin too. You know, like. It's so obvious to us, you know, but like to other people, like it's part of our duties as Christians to be charitable and expose sin. And a lot of Christians go overboard on the charity or go overboard on exposing sin when both of those are equally important. You know, like we're not here to tolerate anything sinful, you know. So when stuff like that is blatantly obvious and stuff like that, it's definitely good to call it out. It doesn't mean that we should be despaired or like ultra disgusted to like let it ruin our day or anything like that, but it's definitely something that we should you know, expose.
I know where you guys are at and where you're at. I'm almost speaking to myself 5 years ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of just like, hey, remember, don't despair. Hey, it's literally a sin. Literally a sin.
We have a Meth Squad member in the, Meth Squad fan in the chat. saying
Oh,
what's
do we?
up. Yeah, is that a Meth Squad member? Yep, that's
Is he?
yeah.
What is he saying? Anything good?
No, not so far. He just knows you from Meth Squad.
Oh,
Oh,
word.
He totally sounds like that
Yeah.
blonde. He totally sounds like that blonde Meth Squad guy.
his panic room. Are you Protestant or Orthodox? What are you? If you're not Catholic.
Protestant.
Protestant?
Really? And you like my page?
father-
Like 80% of
my
my
father was Catholic. My father was Catholic. My mother was Protestant. You go with whatever the mother is because you take the father's last name. So, we went towards Protestant. Now
You're-
I went through Pentecostal churches, Baptist churches. I'm right now in non-denominational, but I do attend Catholic churches with my grandmother. So it's like
okay.
mass.
So
Kinda at the same
you're-
place. Honestly.
You're the only one that's not Catholic that actually likes Spexo, because a lot of Protestants and non-denominationals, they hate Spexo for some reason.
well, because
I don't know
I
why.
shit on Protestant
Well,
like
it's probably
80% of my
because-
content.
Probably because Catholics call Protestants heathens, or they call them hedonistic or heretics. So it's like
So somebody said R.I.P. Meth Squad. They are on what is it? The Ted Kaczynski Institute.
The Kaczynski Institute. Yeah.
Yeah,
You can find us there.
their new channel is the Kaczynski Institute. So they're doing videos on there. Spexo, what translations would you recommend? The Dewey Rames is probably the best translation because it is a direct translation of the Latin Vulgate, which was the first fully compiled Bible in Latin, and it's a direct translation from that. But also any Bible that's sanctioned or allowed by the Catholic Church is fine. I like the New International Version, Catholic edition, because it has like a more modern vernacular. Why do people in dissident right spheres prefer the Dewey Rames Bible over? I just explained that. All right. Anyway, go on.
I would also recommend people read Titus. The whole book of Titus is very brief, but it's a good reference. If you're, because for me it was hard to like the Bible is an all-encompassing book that like literally you're supposed to read daily, and it'll speak to you in different ways. But I need to break up a piece of it. Like it's better for me to break up a little chapter or half a chapter or whatever, and try to consume and understand that. At least when you're beginning, that's what I recommend to new members of the faith.
So I use what is it? Hold on a second. I use I have a daily Catholic reading thing that I do. So there's two apps I use: My Catholic Life and UCAT Daily. So there's daily scripture readings, and then you have like commentary on it. The best Bible app, right? From my opinion, Frederick told me this. It's called Catena, Catena, and it has the Bible, but like you can click on every verse, and it gives you commentaries from multiple church fathers and what like the proper interpretation is. So it's a really good resource.
No, I think you should go on Temple OS and by Terry Davis and then talk to God directly.
What is your take on this guy, Milo, selling audiobooks of Proverbs and Psalms?
I think it's better than promoting sodomy. You know, everybody, everybody is like is like has different opinions on Milo Yiannopoulos or whatever. So he's been very, very nice to me. He was one of the people that like was part of my libertarian pipeline, and then I started not liking him once I became more Christian and stuff because he was a degenerate sodomite married to a black guy. But he over the last year he has renounced homosexuality and has been abstaining from sodomy. Him and his husband, quotation marks, have separated. He threw out his engagement ring, which he called his sodomy stone, and he's been doing nothing but promoting Catholicism and trying to help other people stop engaging in homosexual activity. And at first I thought it was a grift, but he's been doing it for so long now that he seems genuine, and I've talked to him privately or whatever, and he seems like he's going through like a lot of like turmoil because he's balancing dealing with like these desires that he knows is wrong and trying to please God, right? So from everything that I've seen from him, it seems genuine. It doesn't seem like it's a grift, and I think as Catholics we have to be charitable, and if he's actually trying to renounce his old ways and be a better Christian or whatever, then there's no reason to not believe him. If it's proven wrong, then we'll deal with that like later or whatever.
Yeah, at first
if he's
I
being
didn't trust him at
charitable-
first either.
Yeah.
Well, if he's being charitable, then why is he selling it? He should just.
Well, he's working for a church. He's working for church militants. It's
Wow.
Church Militant is a Catholic organization that makes money because it's promoting Catholicism, but also needs to fund its workers, and it's a high production thing. It's not like he's doing
I
it
just feel
privately.
like many that call themselves Christians that focus on, profit rather than speaking of the prophet, it kind of like becomes murky or lukewarm Christianity to me.
Oh,
Well,
That's
no, well, I think
Well,
if you're
the
doing
thing
it,
is, the church does need money. It's just how they use that money. That's the main issue. It's not, Milo didn't join the prosperity gospel preaching type of church.
right?
At least he chose a non-Protestant church, which is good enough for me.
Right, yeah, well, he's promoting Catholicism, and if he's making a living off of it, okay. But he's also giving to charities, and he's also trying to open up a facility that leads homosexuals to not to promote them to not engage in homosexual activity, And obviously, he's been a big voice in politics since like 2015 or 14 or whatever it was. So for somebody with that much prominence who was known for being a homosexual to be like, okay, this is wrong, and I know I can't control my desires, but I can control engaging in those desires, and he could be like somebody who helps other homosexuals through salvations. So I think that there's nothing really.
well, yeah, I've met the guy and everything, like back in the beginning,
Mhm.
like I think this was 2018.
Mhm.
And I thought like, oh, this guy's a homosexual who's against homosexuality. And then I saw him dress in drag, and I was like, I have no idea what this has to do with going against homosexuality. And there was like just so many strikes that I saw, like red
Well, that
flags
was
that I
before.
saw.
This whole thing has been going on only for a year. It happened only a year ago. So in 2018,
No,
he was
I
still a
get that.
homosexual. He was still doing degenerate
No, I
stuff,
get that.
and
I also get the fact that he threw away his engagement ring, but what about his wedding ring?
I don't know.
He
I
was
don't know
already
anything.
married.
I don't know anything about that. I know that he isn't living in the same house as his husband anymore, and literally everything he's done over the last year has shown that he's legitimate. So I don't think that we have
I think it
a
takes
reason
more
to.
than a year for a sodomite to do such a thing, to be honest. Like it
When,
takes
well,
longer.
he's abstained for a year. He has a whole thing of abstaining, And if he relapses or if he goes back to his old ways or whatever, then of course we can judge and criticize that. But if he's doing
yeah.
if he's at least
Fair enough.
materially from our viewpoint doing all the right thing, then then that's what we should be advocating for homosexuals, right?
Are you are you keeping a close eye on him though? Like, are
He's
you?
he's in
He
my
even
chat.
keeps like he keeps
Yeah,
a
yeah, he's in
public
our
tracker
chat.
too.
He's in our
He posts like his stuff.
he's in our chat, and
So
he's
we
like
make
he keeps
so we
track
make sure.
of how long he's been like
I'm
sodomy
weary of
free.
him because I've known him.
Yeah,
So
that's fine
I'm
to be
weary.
weary of him, but also we should be promoting like this idea of trying to get homosexuals not to abstain. Like for example, I'm a drug addict, right? So if I do drugs or whatever, that is engaging in sin, right? And that is a disordered desire for me, right? So if I was doing drugs and then I got clean, right? And people were like, "Oh, I don't believe that he's really clean. I don't believe." Like all I could do is prove myself by living a better life and promoting stuff against doing drugs, right? So it's similar with him and his homosexuality. All he could really do is show that he's not engaging in homosexual activity and he's doing the right thing by promoting Catholicism and promoting anti-homosexual stuff. So I think for now we need
But
to give him the benefit of the doubt.
How many years
but
are you
also
clean?
What?
Oh,
How many years are you clean?
I just got 9 years on November 15th.
Base?
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
awesome, man. But
So
going
wait
back
a
to
minute.
the
What?
I just want to say, so how long after you got clean did you decide that you want to, get more involved with building a Christian community or a Catholic-based community?
Like, well, I've only been really Christian. Like, well, I started off as like, okay, I accepted Christ in probably like early 2018 maybe, but then I went on like a journey like of I was non-denominational, and then I was trying to figure out what the right denomination was, and then I decided that Catholicism was the right faith in 2019. But I was an atheist until I was like 23, 24, right? So I was already clean from drugs for like 5 years, 4 or 5 years before I started like to the idea of like, okay, maybe there's a higher power. And then I went on like this spiritual religious journey that basically turned my life around even more so than getting clean off of drugs, because once I got off drugs, I was able to keep a job, I was able to like maintain relationships and stuff like that, but I was still a degenerate, I was still an atheist, I was still promiscuous, I was still doing all these other disgusting things just because I was clean. And then the more I think about it, that I actually realize now was that my atheism helped me justify my drug use more than anything, because like I didn't care about death. I didn't care about what people thought about me. I didn't care about anything, because I just wanted more drugs, because I thought that this life was the only thing there was, and I want to feel as good as possible. I don't care what anybody else thinks about me. I don't care about hurting anybody else. All I want is to be high, And when I got clean, like it was really for other people. I got clean because like I didn't want to hurt my dad anymore, and also because I was homeless. I had nowhere to go. I got kicked out of my house, but what made me stay clean those first couple of years was like I wanted a relationship with my dad, who was like my best friend and stuff. And then once I found God, I want to be clean because I want to live a life for God. I don't want to displease God. I don't want to sin, because it's not about really me. There is something more. There is salvation, and me living that lifestyle and relapsing and going back to doing the things I was doing is just not going to be good for my soul. So it's a completely different mindset once you embrace religion.
What was I gonna say?
Like
Sorry.
with Milo, like sorry, I didn't mean. I'm sorry because I didn't mean to cut you off, but like I think that's really what happened with Milo. Either your sins are either gonna they're gonna make you and break you in a good way or a bad way, and like it broke Milo in a good way. I really feel like in this,
But I don't
but
think
what
he's
he's been
broken
doing,
for the
like
simple fact that he's still trying to, make money off of it. Like he should take
I
time
mean, well,
away
Milo guy
from.
has to make a living,
Yeah, he's banned from
But
everything, bro. He can't
let him,
his
let him.
his
That's the
line.
thing. That's
What?
the
But
thing.
that's not your
Let him
choice
live, man.
that's not your choice to make. You could have that criticism that you don't think he should be making money or whatever. But like, it's still he's still doing the right thing.
I think he should have more time to really reflect on all of this before he decides he wants this. I feel like this is what I call it. I call it shift the grift. That's what I call it, right? But if he's really sincere, it should take like you took more time for you to like come to this. And if you start like a church and you even said that you want to be a priest, right? So
Hmm.
that's admirable. That's something that I can see because you've took the time and effort. But he just didn't want to stop.
I
Like
think I
he
think
wants
everybody's
to keep.
process. I think everybody's process is different, and I don't think that it's our position to judge people based on the time frame that it takes for them to accept Christ.
But leading a
Oh,
congregation as a pastor, I mean, that's.
Who's doing that?
I mean, didn't you want to open a church?
Me or him?
no,
No,
he wanted to
him.
open
No,
like a
no,
clinic
Milo.
no.
to help,
He wants to open
like
a clinic
a
to help.
conversion clinic.
He wants to open a conversion clinic
Oh,
to help gay people stop being gay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Who's not in favor of that? I mean,
Hmm. Yeah, and,
But
and,
don't-
and
I
you
would
know, you know what?
also.
Even if
Then
he
I was
is,
just
look,
confused
let's
on
let's say hypothetically that it's a grift, right? He is
Yeah.
still, by doing what he's doing, helping other people, right? He's still talking good about Catholicism. He's still leading his audience to the right path. Like he's the reason that I have so many followers on Telegram, right? So if it is a grift and it led to people that are giving better advice and leading people to Christ, that's also a good thing. So either way, there's goodness coming out of what he's doing right now.
But also going
Yeah,
back
I'm
to
sorry.
Milo.
I mean, I guess you're saying that. I just don't see it. I mean,
That's
with you, like
that's fine.
And
I
that's
just
fine.
saw some
And
of
that's
your.
fine.
No. With you, I saw some of your posts and stuff, and I was like, this guy seems sincere. But I've known Milo. I've seen Milo. I've went to his book signings and stuff. I've spoke to close friends of his,
Mhm.
and it's just like I'm not seeing it.
Yeah.
But it's fine.
Yeah, it's
That's
fine. It's
that's just
ultimately
the way.
between him
Yeah,
and
yeah.
God. We could all have our own opinions, but it's ultimately between
But
him and God.
Absolutely.
also,
That's what my
but
brother
also,
told between him and God.
but also, by the way, with Milo, our chat, the chat that we're in, it's like a small minority of people that like Milo in the AF sphere. A lot of AF people don't like Milo. When Milo made a decent criticism of Goipers in some way, all I saw in the comments were just ridicules like, "Oh fuck you, piece of shit, you're anti-AF." I don't think he's anti-AF. I think he's just criticizing some of the stuff, and now Beardson is going to be, debating him next Saturday.
Yeah, I'm
Which is,
not gonna even comment on that stuff. I'm not gonna get involved with any
I'm
drama.
not gonna.
Somebody just said
I'm just gonna watch.
Yeah, somebody said church militant and the Catholic talk show are big reasons why I joined the Catholic Church. I converted for a similar reason. I didn't convert for me, but for my core values of faith, family, folk, and fatherland. No, I didn't convert. I didn't convert for those reasons. I converted because I felt that the Catholic faith was the true faith. I said I got clean at first, not for me. Like, I didn't do it because I cared about my well-being. That's what I was saying. I wasn't talking about Catholicism. I converted to Catholicism because through my research and through my journey, I felt that it was
Yeah.
the correct church.
So a couple of
I
days
mean,
ago, I was looking up some posts about TPUSA and stuff. Don't ask why. And what I realized is there's a trend going on where a lot of these after parties and these TPUSA events,
Yeah.
there's a lot of cases of like sexual assault and like very
Mhm.
sussy behavior
Yeah,
from
I heard
like
about that too.
big, yeah. And I'm just like, is this what goes on? And then Charlie knows about it because he's the head guy. He obviously knows about it.
Mhm.
One of his speakers I heard sexually assaulted somebody. I don't know who it was, but
probably
someone
that
did,
gay
and
guy.
he knew about it,
Yeah.
and he didn't do anything about it. I'm just
Yeah.
like, is this
Rob
what
Smith.
goes on?
Mhm. Yeah, and
You never
Yeah.
Rob
heard
Smith.
Static. You never heard that a conservative's favorite drug is cocaine. Like, you never heard that before.
Which one?
Like
Oh,
this,
he's saying it's
this
a
is what
saying.
they were saying. It was like,
Oh,
okay, so if you were not a conservative or hung out in Republican events, you would not see cocaine.
Mhm.
But as soon as you get to those events, all of a sudden that stuff is coming out.
Yep.
And
The
you're just
really?
wondering,
the
like,
vast majority of like the political apparatus, even Republicans,
Are
it's a
coked.
grift. It's to make money, it's to
yeah,
gain power, it's to gain influence, and it's not like they really care about their values. And TPUSA is in no way different. Like, TPUSA is all about profit and influence and stuff like that. They don't really care about conservative values. Like, Charlie Kirk, even though he's shifted his immigration platform and his demographic platform out of necessity because
the
of what Nick Fuentes
militia, huh?
He's
Nick
still
Fuentes
the
does,
same old.
right? He's still allowing homosexuals in his the hierarchy of TPUSA. He's still
Yeah.
promoting the same socialism sucks, low taxes, blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? So, does he
Yeah.
really even have any values or beliefs whatsoever? I don't even think that he has any genuine like like a soul. You know, like, I don't think
A
that he
lot of
has like any
these,
genuine beliefs whatsoever.
a lot of
You
these
saying he's a reprobate?
politigrammers
Charlie
that,
Kirk is a
claim to
reprobate
be
confirmed.
Christian,
Hmm?
they look like televangelists to me. Like,
Who's
it's
that?
always like them. Sorry.
Oh, that's a Panic Room talking.
No, who looks like televangelists? TPUSA.
A lot of these guys that are just holding a mic and trying to tell you what is freedom or what are
Mhm.
liberties, what is American values. They
Mhm.
just look like
Yeah.
televangelists. Like, I don't. I'm
I'm
not
still
for
I'm still
that.
waiting. You know when I'll take Charlie Kirk seriously? I'll take Charlie Kirk seriously when, even if he doesn't change his homosexual platform or something like that, I'll take him seriously a little bit when he apologizes to Nick Fuentes and all of Nick Fuentes' supporters, who he called white supremacist and racist, for saying the same exact things a year ago that he's saying now. Now he changed his whole entire platform and is talking about white demographics and all
Yep.
this stuff, and
And all of it.
he
Yeah.
still has not said, "Oh, I want to apologize for calling
Oh,
them these names and slandering them." He didn't invite Nick onto like a show or to an interview or anything like that. So it's all fake and gay.
Panic
Yeah,
Room.
I mean, don't forget the porn star that he invited to his event to speak.
Oh, that one. Oh,
Yeah.
that
forget.
one. We all remember that
That one.
one.
Mhm.
But then I
That
heard they kicked her out or something. I
Probably
forgot.
because they
Yeah,
got
they
too much
kicked her
pushback.
out. Yeah, they got too much pushback. But if they didn't get too much pushback, they would have let her roam the area, no problem.
Mhm.
But Panic
Yeah.
Room, about when you were talking about the Coke thing, I did hear about that. Like TPUSA after parties, you see people doing Coke. You see
Oh, it's
people
not.
like
It's
going
not
after.
just TPUSA. It's all these events. Like, I remember I was meeting up with Trump supporters in bars and clubs, and I was like, why is it that conservatives are trying to congregate in bars and clubs? This
Mhm.
makes absolutely no sense. Why
Yeah,
don't
I
we meet
agree.
up in churches or school auditoriums? Like, what are we doing in these bars and clubs? We're obviously
Yeah,
not talking about Christ.
Right.
And
Well,
even when we
yeah.
were taught that, I remember I introduced I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Proud Boys, but I introduced my
ugh.
brother
Oh, I
to
am.
them. And there was a certain group of them that claimed to be Christians. So we're all having a conversation talking about the Bible. Next thing you know, they pull out a bag of Coke, and my brother just left. He was like, I'm not staying here.
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with these guys? Like, how
It's
are you?
yeah, it's sad when you like you said, when you like when I was younger, I never know, like I was like, oh no, they would never do that. Now I'm like, oh, they're all drug addicted assholes who
Mhm.
don't really care about anything.
Right.
Alcoholics, drug addicts,
The only
degenerates.
real like difference between modern conservatives and leftists is basically economic policies and, like, I don't know,
Yeah.
sense of humor or something like that. It's like there's no
And waving
real.
the America flag.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing like nothing real about either side that
It's
is different. It's like, oh, we want low taxes and we want for freedom of speech and we don't like socialism and we like capitalism and stuff like that. It's like economics is the
it's like
most
a
boring and
slightly
like unimportant thing regarding politics. Politics should be about policies about protecting and preserving your people and pushing them in the right direction towards God, not what the economic policy is.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just don't
You have
get
like these
like
boomer,
there's a
like
there's a
these.
girl in these Telegram chats, and she has something called Proud Patriot. So I just wonder, like, a lot of people that call themselves patriots, they call themselves conservative. This girl is wearing like a shirt that her breasts are just popping out completely,
Oh,
Yeah. What was
don't
and
it?
get me started on
Hold on. I
that.
think
arguing.
Matthew Gazik, you wanted to speak, or somebody else was trying to speak.
It's Gazic, but
Gazik.
it's okay, dude. I'm Croatian, so it's weird
Hmm.
Slavic names. But those, Panic Room, you're good to go, dude. If you want to keep on talking.
Wait, hold on. You're Croatian, so what is that? Isn't that like Serbian and like
Slav?
if you're a Serbian and
Yeah,
like
Yugoslavian.
yeah.
Yeah, we're right next to Italy, but we're still Slavic, so
Mhm.
it's kind of Eastern European. When you hear the language, it's really weird.
You're not. Are you in that country now, or are you in America?
No, no, no. I'm on the complete opposite side of the world, actually. But like my grandparents were from Croatia, and they moved on over to Minnesota to go mining for iron ore.
I heard that if you're a Serbian and you convert to Catholicism, they call you Croatian. Is that true?
Yeah,
What
that's
the
very
fuck?
true.
Yeah, because Serbs don't
That's
believe
very
in
true. There's a
that
lot of
Croatians exist.
there's a lot of tension. A lot of my we have a family member who's still in Europe. He's in Italy now. They got chased off after that whole war back in the '90s in Yugoslavia. But
Yeah, it was
it was
pretty
basically
rough.
like a 3 or 4 way fight between like Catholics, East Orthodox,
Muslims.
Muslims in Albania and Bosnia. Yeah, I think so.
So
And
the
then
Serbian,
communists.
because I remember I tried to learn this and it was just too confusing. But the Croatian and Serbia, that's all part of like the Balkans, right? Like
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
Yugoslavia.
it is.
Yo, I
It's
tried to learn.
just
Yeah, I
it's
tried to learn
just
the history of
Western
that, and it
Balkans.
was the most confusing thing I've ever tried to learn in my life.
it's very confusing.
Yeah.
But dude, I will say this: like, whenever the Pope, one like cool thing about like Croatians and Poles too, there's something about like Slavic Catholics. But like, whenever the Pope like wanted a crusade, there was always a good couple thousand Croats and Poles, and these guys are huge. I'm like 5'10". I'm a little guy. The rest of my family is huge. Like but these guys were always just with a big smile on their face, ready to help the Pope with whatever he needed.
Based.
It was really cool. It's really cool to read that. But Lepanto, a lot of that was Croatians.
Wow. Nice. Somebody said there's an ad on YouTube saying that Jesus was born to a teen mom out of cheating on her BF. Wow.
Oh
Yo,
boy,
you know,
here we go.
YouTube, I don't understand YouTube because like YouTube, I'll watch like Catholic theology videos. The main thing I watch on YouTube is like Catholic stuff, right? And I'll watch these Catholic theology videos and I'll get like an ad for like HIV medicine beforehand, or like an ad
What?
showing like a homosexual couples and stuff like that. Yeah, there's this ad where it's like a tranny, and it's like my HIV doesn't define me or something like that. And it's like I could live free and whatever if I take this anti-AIDS medication. And it's just like, why is this allowed on like this type of like content that I'm trying to view? And then this other
Propaganda.
thing is like I'll have
Irony. It's living free that got him AIDS.
yeah. And this other thing was like I'll go on YouTube and I'll watch a video and the ad will be in Spanish. I have never once watched a video in Spanish. I don't speak Spanish. Why am I getting ads for like some Google phone in Spanish? It makes no sense whatsoever.
I
Like,
know, right? I do too all the time. It's like, why?
yeah, I use AdBlock too, but I'm
Guys
talking
don't
about when I
play.
use my phone.
There's
And
demoralization.
speaking about AIDS, I think AIDS. Actually, I'm gonna get banned for saying this, but whatever. I think AIDS is a punishment from God for homosexuals, and I think that what it shows is that like everything that God tells us is a sin that we engage in, there's real world consequences, whether it's like promiscuity and STDs and homosexuality and AIDS and like out of wedlock births and growing up with like mental illness because of a lack of a father or something like that, pornography, screwing up your dopamine receptors, all this stuff, all these things that are sins have real world consequences. And then instead of saying like, oh well, all these actions cause these consequences, maybe we should like ban these actions or go against these actions and make policies that like tell people that they shouldn't do these things. Instead, they go, oh, you know what? Oh, you're getting AIDS from having gay sex. Okay, how about we just make a medication that makes it okay now? How about we just like create condoms and create contraception, all these unnatural things that allow you to indulge in sin. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so backwards that the reaction to all of these horrible things happening as a result of sin isn't to be like, okay, maybe we should stop sinning. It's like, okay, maybe we can sin and find this loophole where we could sin without the consequences. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Well,
I
like the
would
one thing that
say
does like
modern
piss me
science
off
is
a little bit.
satanic.
What?
Hey,
Everyone's talking.
Spexo, I remember you saying earlier, like, that your kids go to sleep at like 5 or 6. Do they
Uh,
sleep for like 12 hours?
Yeah, they do. No, it's more like 6:30 now, and they sleep until about 5. And
What the
yeah,
fuck?
yeah. They're 2 and 11 months, so they're
Understandable.
sleeping a long time. My youngest daughter, we just like sleep trained her or whatever, because she was waking up like every 2 hours to drink a bottle, and it was really annoying. Not for me, I slept through it. For my wife, it was annoying. But yeah, so now she's sleeping all through the night. It's great. We got very lucky.
Spexo
that-
family, three girls, and
Bro,
you.
no,
the only guy.
because one of my dogs is a girl too. There's way too much estrogen in this house. I told my wife.
Oh no.
Yo,
Too much estrogen.
I posted this a couple of weeks ago when I had my beard. My wife was telling me that I'm starting to look like a homeless person with my beard, and I told her that if she doesn't give me a son, she's going to be a homeless person.
You're like,
I
why
just
don't you
wanna
give me a
go-
son?
Yeah.
I just want to go back to what you said, and this is what I normally say. The only thing positive about the gay community is HIV.
Yeah, very true.
So it's like I just don't see any room for it in any society.
And people think
People are
that
always
like
trying to find
like
excuses for it.
people think like when you talk about homosexuals and putting women in the right place and all of this stuff, that like it's coming from a place of hate. If we hated these people, at least for me, if we hated these people, we would want them to continue to indulge in their degeneracy, because then they would be going to hell, right? If we hated those people. Hate is wanting something bad to happen to somebody because of severe dislike or whatever, right? We actually, coming from a place of love. We want them to stop being evil and come to Jesus Christ and learn that they don't have to engage in their evil ways,
If you
Yeah.
hated women, you would want them to have a career.
Right, exactly.
Correct.
If you hate women, anybody who wants women in the workplace and wants equal rights for women means that they hate women, because they don't want them to do what God intended them to do.
Look what happens
They're
to these
almost always
teachers.
miserable there.
These female teachers, they wind up sleeping with their students. They put themselves in jeopardy.
Mhm.
They ruin their own marriages, if anything.
Justin,
They risk every time they travel. They're gonna get assaulted or something. Like, this is what you want. You chose
Exactly.
this.
Yo, the majority of
Justin,
majority of the cringe shit we learned in school is from female teachers. So
yeah, exactly, yeah, it's very true.
Yeah.
What is it? Everything
Uh,
just ties back to the schools again.
Justin, you're raising your hand, but you're unmuted, so you just have to unmute your mic and you can talk.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, if you want to talk, you can talk. I don't know. You're raising your hand, but you're unmuted, so. Oh
By the
man.
way, Spec, do you usually work on Sundays, or you're like always off on Sundays usually?
No, it
If you don't
depends.
mind.
Yeah, it depends. Sometimes
Yeah.
sometimes I work, sometimes I don't. I try not to, like, because you're not really supposed to work on Sundays. But occasionally I do work. But
Huh.
yeah,
You have to do what you got to do.
yeah.
Wait, isn't that like a sin?
Oh,
What?
did you?
Isn't that like a sin to work on Sundays?
It depends.
That's
They're way more lenient on that now. Like, they basically, I don't know what the correct termination is. You're really not supposed to work on Sunday, but they are more lenient on it, because I don't know. It's more of a discipline than like a dogma, I guess.
Oh,
So.
I was just thinking about that because I'm gonna start work soon
Mhm.
because I graduate this year and next year. I mean,
Mhm.
this school. year,
Nice.
So you know,
well, congratulations, man.
Congratulations.
Wait, you're graduating
It's been
Congratulations.
from high school or
It's been-
college?
my school.
Oh wow,
I'm not going to
Ah,
college,
Zoom.
man.
good.
My friends want me to,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard college is hell right now.
College is bro.
It's
Oh,
hell.
I don't know. I don't know if I told this
By
story.
the worst, man.
I don't know if
It
I
is
told the
the
story,
worst.
but my cousin was raised super Catholic, conservative, all that stuff. She went to college, and her first semester she wrote this thesis paper, this essay against abortion, right? This pro-life essay, and it caused a whole stir in her school. And they were trying to like get her in trouble, and like she became like this, like, I don't know, known on campus as like the pro-life girl, and nobody liked her and all this stuff, right? And fast forward 3 years, right? She became a full-blown self-proclaimed communist Bernie supporter and is now an open lesbian.
No.
That is how college ruins people. All right, college ruins
No.
people.
Wait, have y'all seen that image of like there's this like normal girl,
and
then the
Yep.
next image is like
She cut her
like
tits off and shit.
her face. No, it's like
Yeah.
it's like her face, and she's like got her hair dyed, and it's like a tweet she made like about killing Kavanaugh, like because this was like in 2018, I think, when Kavanaugh's gonna get confirmed. She was like making a tweet about how she was gonna kill him,
Oh,
and she looked like a meth addict.
by the way,
Like 1
Spexo,
year
I
college.
want to admit something. I honestly think you were right about Kyle, because now he's going on like Charlie Kirk and stuff, and being this big figure. I'm like, all right, you know what? Maybe you were right. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
you were
like I
definitely
said,
right.
we could acknowledge that he did an awesome thing, and we can also acknowledge that he's cucking, and there's no reason for it, because he's claiming that he doesn't want to be political, but then he's going on all these political things and disavowing election fraud and supporting BLM and all this stuff when he doesn't have to, and it has nothing to do with the defamation case, because that defamation case, he already has enough evidence, because the entire media was calling him a white supremacist for a year. He doesn't have to go on the media and say that he's not. Like, it's stupid.
Also, before you continue, I don't know if you guys knew. I don't know if you guys know about this. Chris Cuomo just got fired today.
Yeah, very white pilling, which is
he's gone.
So stupid. Like Andrew Cuomo.
I'm sure NBC or one of those others will pick him up. It's like Brian Williams. They never really.
Yeah,
get
they're
fired.
But I don't understand. They fired him because he was helping his brother with a sexual assault case. Like, I know that his brother was the governor and he got fired, or he resigned because of the sexual scandal or whatever. But like, why is he not allowed to help his brother? I don't understand how is that a conflict of interest?
Yeah. Well, I think because
wasn't it
they get like.
Hold on 1 second. Kevin, go ahead. Let one at a time, because you can't hear each other. Kevin, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. The guy can go ahead.
Hispanic room, you can speak.
No, I was saying, wasn't it a conflict of interest already? The fact that you have a brother that is the governor, and you have a brother that's doing the news, talking about him as if like he's the greatest, governor of all time.
Well, there was this one thing where they were the brother was interviewing the governor, and they like got into like a sibling fight on air. It was pretty funny.
I saw that one. That was funny.
It's these, the Italian family,
But they are such race traitors to Italians, though, bro. They are horrible. Every Italian I know hated them.
Yeah, I do too.
You're right about that in a sense. You're right about that. But it's just, what if Fox picks him up?
I wouldn't even be surprised. The only thing good about Fox right now is Tucker Carlson. Everything, like, I think if the only reason that Tucker is still on the air, I think, is because he has the highest ratings by far, and I think everybody just tunes into Fox specifically for him. I think that honestly, if he left right now, I think that it would crumble, especially as time goes on and more of these like older boomers start dying, because that's basically Fox News fan base.
There's a bunch of old boomers.
As much as I appreciated him.
Wait, okay, so there are a bunch of these Telegram pages about how Kyle was or Saint Kyle, a bunch of group chats that I was getting annoyed about, and I found it really funny when Kyle was was cucking to BLM, because I was like looking through these, and then they all got so mad about Kyle, so I just found that funny.
Yeah, and they were saying like, "Oh, he's a CIA psyop," and all this other shit. The QAnon schizos. I'm like, oh no, here we go.
Yeah, like overnight, it all just like goes. It just flips.
And I like how people were
QAnon...
like, "What?" Oh. Okay. I like how people were saying like, don't worry about what he says politically. He's just a silly kid, he doesn't know any better and stuff like that. But he's mature enough to go to a community by himself and defend his property with an AR-15 and kill 2 pedophiles and know what he's doing and do the right thing. And that's because he's a patriotic young American. But then when he makes a political statement, your excuse is, oh, well, he's just a silly, dumb kid. It makes no sense.
Yeah. But also, when I was mentioning the whole QAnon thing about how they're calling him a CIA psyop, honestly, I think they're at the point now where they're becoming clinically insane. Same with Lynn Wood. Lynn Wood is now attacking everybody now. Sydney Watson, Wendy Rogers. He's literally attacking everybody.
What was the thing with Lynn Wood where Lynn Wood let out like an audio of him speaking to Michael Flynn, and they were talking about how QAnon was a CIA
Was a
psyop.
CIA
But
psyop.
so I don't get
Yeah.
why did Lynn Wood like release that if he is claiming to be pro QAnon? I don't. What was the thing with
I
that?
don't. Well, he doesn't even like Michael Flynn anymore. I don't think
So
either. I
was
think
he
now
like
he's just attacking him.
was he like trying to say like that Michael Flynn is fake because he thinks QAnon is a psyop, so he's trying to get the Q
Um,
people not to support him or something?
Probably, maybe,
That might make more sense, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. The Q thing was like, I think what happened was, I think that it started out by just trolls, right? I think it was just like a trolley
Yeah.
thing that caught on, and I think,
4chan.
or 8chan, I think it was. But then it just
Huh.
it got like psyoped or
Bad.
appropriated by CIA, who realized that they could use this to put out disinformation and false hope to basically make people docile and not want to do anything or whatever. But it's pretty funny because I thought it was gonna like end after Trump like stopped being president or whatever, and
Oh,
it just
no.
got crazier and crazier. It's schismed into like 2 different or 3 different things now. It's just so bad. I don't know how
I
people
was
are
in one
still.
of their I was in one of their big group chats. Don't ask why. I was just in it just to see how it is. And I was in one of their chats just saying, I don't know why you guys are so much into the hopium stuff. You know, Trump's not gonna get reelected, and then they just banned me immediately.
Yeah,
And I'm like,
it's
oh,
bro.
so this is how these people
There's
are.
such like deep lore,
Started.
and that like if you go deep enough, you find like time travel and like people faking their deaths and all this stuff, and that like
Elvis is
Baron
a
Trump.
priest.
What happened?
Elvis
I've heard
is a
people.
pastor in North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
JFK
No, I've
Jr.
heard
is
people
alive,
say
and he's gonna
Elvis
show
is,
up
like, the closest.
in Dallas with Trump.
Dude,
Mhm.
I met that guy. I met the guy who they're saying is JFK Jr. He's like this little tiny guy. He looks Jewish, honestly. He just looks like this little shriveled guy. And you know, I call it Day of the Cope.
Mhm.
Like that's what I see.
Yeah,
Day of
no,
the
it
Cope.
really is. It just, but it's gotten so far. Like I could understand believing in it the first couple of months, but then every single prediction was wrong, and then it just kept getting stranger and stranger, and just kept going further and further. And it's like, what is it going to take for you people to not believe in this? Like every time they say something is going to happen, it doesn't happen, and then they appropriate that response as like, oh well, no, this is actually happening, but it's in the background, and we just don't know about it. And I saw people saying like, oh, Trump is actually still really president. He's running a shadow government as
Oh no.
Biden, yeah, Biden
Wow.
waterfront. It's insane.
No,
Dude,
I've heard
dude, I have
people
a
say that Trump
brother.
lost
A
on
brother
purpose.
reaches
Like
out to me.
Trump rigged the
Sorry.
election against himself.
Yeah,
Like,
it was
I've heard
the plan. The plan was for Trump to purposely lose so he could run things from the background
yeah,
or something. Like it's
yeah, no, like not really lose, but like rig it against
Mhm.
himself to make sure he
Bro,
lost.
you remember the what was the thing? It was like that they put out fake ballots to be able to prove
Yeah,
election fraud or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
This
think
is
yeah, it's just it's so bad. Like it's like don't get me wrong. Some of the conspiracies that they believe in, like adrenochrome and pedophilia and all that stuff, and that's all
yeah,
that's
it's
all
valid.
legit. But what they do is they muddy the waters. They put out real stuff and then conflate it with fake stuff, so it makes everything look fake. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like it's
Yeah.
just leading people to falsehoods. You know, and it's just really bad.
Panic room. You were saying something?
No, I was speaking to my brother, and he was like, "Hey, I just started listening to his guy. Do you know his name? X22 Reports." And I'm
Yes,
just like,
I know that one. Yeah.
and I'm like, dude, you're on level 0.
Yeah.
I remember
Yeah.
like 6 months into the QAnon thing, my dad came over and he was like, "Did you hear about this QAnon or something?" And I was like, "Dad, don't even think about it. Don't even. Nope. Stop.
Dad,
Stop
no,
right now. Stop right
no,
now. Don't.
My
no,
dad
please.
No.
showed me a QAnon video. It was the
Yeah.
most bizarre thing I've ever seen.
Oh
They
my
were
gosh.
counting like the crates that were stacked up behind him at a speech, and like how that was a QAnon.
Bro,
Yeah,
the,
my
Did you
this
hear
my
about this
dad.
QAnon?
the
Dad, get away
symbology
from
the
it.
symbology is so funny. Like
It's
it's
Your
like because
dad's doing
because
it too.
there is
My dad's like,
there is like real stuff. Like there is like they do like symbols like Masonic symbols and like 33 and the all-seeing eye and all that stuff. But these people are just making stuff up out of thin air. It's insane.
gematria. That's what they do, gematria or something like that.
and I
What's that?
remember there was a video. Oh, there was a video a couple of weeks ago of like this rally in Dallas, and they were all like old boomer QAnon Q people that are like, "Oh, we're waiting for JFK Jr. to return." I'm like, "Are you people like insane? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
Like, do you actually think he's alive? He's dead. He's been dead for almost 20 years, I think. He's been dead for a while."
Wait, Hispanic room. Are you Jovi Val? Yo,
What
Panic.
was that?
Are you Jovi Val?
Yeah,
Are you really?
I was. Yeah, I was gonna tell you to not unban me, and I was gonna tell you who I was after I was about to leave.
Well, you seem
Oh,
nice,
dude.
so.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I had to kick him. Holy shit. Oh my god. What the fuck? That was Joey Val the whole time. Somebody just
He seemed
text.
kind of.
Oh my no,
Nice.
that guy's the guy that came to the fucking rally and was harassing Groypers.
Wait, what?
Bruh,
It
that
was that.
Wait, who?
bruh. Wow.
It was the. That was interesting.
Holy shit. That was the fucking
He was.
Hispanic Wignac guy.
Oh, the not. Oh no, that was him. He
Bruh.
seemed. He seemed. I
They're
thought
so
it was just
funny.
some like nice Spaniard dude, and I'm just like, oh no.
Holy shit. So well, he was so
Wait,
he came in here basically like undercover to I don't even know why and wasn't saying who he was. He knew if he would have told me who he was, he knew he was going to get banned right away. But I don't that was weird.
Oh, I
That's
don't
the
know.
guy.
oh
Maybe.
my gosh. You
Yeah.
can't trust
Yeah,
anyone. You can't trust
America First in my group chat told me that it was Jovi Val. I wish I looked at that
Yeah, I was just
that
reading it.
quicker. Yeah, that's insane.
That's
Wow. For what
funny.
reason? Well, I don't understand that because like he didn't come in here like antagonistic and he wasn't saying like I don't know like because in person he hates Groypers, he hates America First, and I don't know why. I'm surprised he admitted
That
it
was.
too.
So no wonder he was trying to undermine us with Milo and all this stuff.
Do some
So weird.
Wignats.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense too. That's why he was so against Milo too. Wait, but
Do so. Do,
wasn't he the one that
what
was
happened?
bringing up the thing with Beardson, or was that somebody else?
That was me. That was me.
Oh, yeah,
I was just bringing it up just because.
that's some strange shit because he is like an enemy. He hates everything that I stand for. I don't know why he would come
I
in
don't know.
here.
He's
He
maybe.
but
Maybe.
that was all an act because he was calling us all grifters and faggots at the rally, and then I don't know.
Maybe he likes you. Maybe he actually genuinely likes you as like a good
I
person. Maybe. Who
pretty
knows?
sure I waved a crucifix in his face and said "convert faggot." So I don't know. why.
Oh, I remember that. Was it him or was it the fat dude?
I don't know which one is which.
It was the fat. Oh yes, that
Oh
was
my
interesting.
god, bro! But they came together.
Oh.
They came together and they were trying to like
Oh yeah, they did.
I don't know. And that's like another thing too. Like these two like Mexican neo Nazis came to a rally while like to like I don't know antagonize Groypers. Meanwhile, the press was filming us, calling us Nazis. It's so fucking stupid.
So that was interesting, my man.
Wow,
Jeez,
that was
the l-
insane.
the LARPing that
Wow. So,
sock.
but it's so weird because he didn't. I don't know.
Yeah. So for the ones who don't really know the story, can you tell us? So like, I only know a little bit of what happened.
Of what?
So like they were just trolling you guys
No,
at the rally.
no, we were at the rally, and these two Mexican guys came in. I didn't even know who Joe Buell was at the time. I got told after, and they came in and they were basically saying that they were saying Cat Boy and Nick Fuentes doesn't care about you. He's a grifter, and the other fat little Mexican guy was throwing Romans. Yeah, they're showing Joe Val in here right now. He's bro, this
Throwing the
Mexican guy.
Roman
This Mexican.
salute.
It's so funny. This Mexican guy is wearing a swastika necklace. With a Nazi flag, throwing a Roman. Oh my gosh, it's
That's when I see shit like that.
bro.
Dude, absolute cringe.
But what I'm surprised
man,
is that
absolute
so anyway,
cringe.
so yeah, they both came there, or whatever, and they ended up getting escorted away by the police, and we were all calling them faggots. We were chanting "fag, fag, fag" at him, and whatever. But and then I got told who he was afterwards. I knew nothing about them, but it's so weird that he would come into this chat and have a relatively civil conversation when he knows who I was. He
That's
saw me at the rally, right? And
that's weird.
he wasn't like talking bad about Nick Fuentes or anything. That's so I don't know. That's bizarre behavior. Like I don't
I
know.
know. Do
That's
some
weird.
actually? I
Watch
want to
him,
ask
like,
you.
record the whole
I
thing.
actually wanted to ask you a question, Spexel. Have you ever do Wignats even like you, or because I know there's probably some that actually like you as a person
I
because
have
you're like a father
I have
and you're a good figure.
no idea. I don't want anything to do with them. They are bad news.
Oh, I know.
They make everybody look bad. They are just silly. I am like I said, I'm not trying to be a voice of America First or something like that. I'm just me,
Oh, I
but
know.
I support America First, and
You're just you.
anything else against that, I do not support. I don't, that's the only movement that I will like I have no problem supporting because
That's so funny.
I truly believe in it, and like I have a lot of Wignats that hate me. I know that for sure, but I don't know what that guy was doing. That was super
That was
strange.
funny. I'm actually the one that sent you the screenshots in your private messages. By the way, I
Yeah.
sent you them.
Oh, am I?
I pressed his profile and I'm like, oh, it's Jovi. I didn't want to say anything.
Oh,
I was
what the
like, oh, it's
fuck,
Jovi.
yo, bruh.
I think it was him. I don't know. I thought it wasn't him because
Wow,
in the
yo,
comments it said Jovi
this
Val.
guy's whole thing is anti.
Yeah,
Why is
yeah, I
what?
saw it and I'm like,
If you need a
yeah,
signal
I
that you're
sent
Christian,
it to you.
nah, and just wants to. Yo, and he's talking shit about me in his thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I
again,
bet he was recording the this thing.
What? Yo, wow.
probably was.
Yo, he's calling me a larper because I got a Christian Christmas sweater.
Which isn't,
Yeah, that's
honestly.
Oh my
retarded.
god! If I was like 10 years younger, my trust issues would have went horrible.
Wow. Holy shit. But yo, but it
That's
doesn't make any
just
sense. Like
insane, dude.
it doesn't make any
That is
sense.
so insane.
maybe
Holy shit.
no, it does because he probably wanted to get like a sound bite
Yeah,
of you saying something really like sauce or like something that's contradictory to AF and then just post it on his chat
Yeah.
just to make fun of you.
What a fag. Yeah, but I don't think I said anything and he kept trying to get me to say something bad about Milo. I didn't say anything, right? So into the
Dude,
YouTube comments on the yeah,
I'm surprised there isn't that many bots in the chat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's
that
only
was weird.
like once every couple weeks, but that was funny.
Wow. All right. Well, that was a way to. That was one way to end it.
America First in the chat said he was the one spamming into the YouTube comments on the live. He made up fake names in the YouTube comments.
Did he? I don't know. I only banned one person. I'm trying to.
Maybe he had multiple burners. Probably had burner accounts.
I don't know.
That's funny.
That's too much fun.
That's
That's insane. Anyway, Kevin, what's
That's
up with
too
you?
much work, man. Man, not much. Just school, preparing for finals, working, the usual.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, everybody's just doing their usual thing.
How
I
old
go to
are
church
you,
every
Kevin? Are you
Sunday.
in the 20s or are you a teenager?
Wait, what's up?
How old are you?
Hello?
Yo.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you good.
Yeah. I just turned I'm 20 I'm 24.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn. Nice.
So what? You're still in you're in college, I guess. You're graduating.
Yeah, I'm in college. So I'm in grad school right now.
Mm-hmm. And I think I asked you this before, like, because I ask every black person this that is like AF. How did you like? Because AF is always called like slandered as like white supremacists, neo Nazis, and stuff like that. How did you see through that and like start supporting it?
I mean, when my dad is like a Reagan Republican, so I mean, he had like Pat Buchanan and what's his name, Sorbonne. He had like books from those types of people, like paleoconservative people.
Mm-hmm.
So he has an extensive stuff. So I used to read a little bit of that stuff growing up. So I was always skeptical of any time the media would like label people as racist. But I'm just somebody that would watch someone full through and through just to get a context of where they are.
Oh, so
the first time I ever heard of Nick, go ahead.
I was gonna say, so you were never like taking things at face value, like when they slandered people in like the mainstream media. You always wanted to like look for yourself.
Yeah, because I know that's how they get down. So
nice, that's cool.
So I mean, those the first time I ever heard of Nick was actually a little bit before the Groyper Wars, because like around the time, like I must have been like maybe a freshman in college or maybe still in high school, but I started getting interested in politics because obviously Trump running for office. And when I was in high school, I was like, yo, I want to join TPUSA. I want to, help get the black vote from like, I don't know what percentage it was, like 6% to like 10.
Oh,
I was like,
that'll change it. That'll change.
Yeah, I know, right?
Oh, that's cool though. No, yeah, I like that a lot. Like I like because it's so out of the ordinary, when black people like are super right wing, and it's nice to see. Yo, you know what Tommy?
It also helped that I have a Catholic background. So.
There you go. Yeah, you know who? What's his name? Tommy Sotomayor is the.
Yeah, Tommy Sotomayor. Yeah.
Yo, he's like a porn star now. He's doing like OnlyFans and stuff.
Oh
no! Get out of here!
Like
really?
I was like, what? Like, 'cause he was all about like anti-degeneracy and like I don't know, like talking about like women like being like traditional and all this stuff. Like I remember watching some of his clips and he was pretty based. And now he has like an OnlyFans. My friend, the Jay DeGod in my chat was sending me like pictures of like him promoting his pornography and in OnlyFans. I was like, what? It's insane.
Bro.
Oh my gosh,
Some people, man.
it's so crazy.
Your face when you get caught being awake.
What happened?
Dude, I'm telling you though, like it's difficult, like being black and like part of the America First movement, because like I try to tell all my friends, I'm like, bro, like it's terrible. Like they'll get close enough where they'll become like black Republicans, but it's like they have this like weird thing whenever Nick Fuentes is brought up because they don't like talking about like racial disparities in groups or whatever. And I'm like, yo, there's exceptions.
Mhm.
But when we're talking politics, we talk like group dynamics and stuff like that. And it just makes them uncomfortable.
Mhm.
Because I think a part of them still subscribes to that whole Martin Luther King, judged by the content of character, not skin, that nonsense. So
Yeah, it's it's so stupid. It's like, and Martin Luther King was just another total psyop. He didn't write any of his speeches. He was just good at making speeches. You know, he was totally controlled. He basically, and everything that it came from it, civil rights basically infringed on everybody else's civil rights. Like if there was discrimination, we could have figured out a way to, you know, lessen that discrimination, I guess, or whatever. But this whole entire thing of forced integration and like basically forcing everybody to be around each other, and then stirring up purposely through the media these racial conflicts and stuff like that. It's like if you put a bunch of different people together forcefully, that's already going to inevitably create some type of conflict, whether it's racial or cultural or religious or anything like that. But then on top of it, you spread all of this division propaganda to make people not like each other, make people afraid of each other, and then the result becomes that like everybody's fighting each other instead of like realizing who the enemy is, you know. So it's all gay.
yeah, but before even that happens, I mean, we just have to tell the truth about the differences, you know? And like, I don't know, the GOP does this cringe shit where they like talk around like the racial issues. They'll be like,
No.
oh, well, it's the fatherless homes,
Mhm.
or it's like welfare. And it's like, no, dude,
Mhm.
it's the fact that there's like no accountability
Right.
for when African American males commit crimes and do stuff. There's no accountability, like
Right.
real
All,
accountability. If a
all,
white
all
person
races
does
are
something,
equal. All races are equal except for white people because they're evil. Like it makes
facts.
it's so stupid. And somebody was asking me about BLM before, and it's like BLM does not care about black people. I know this is not like a normie thing to say or whatever, and it's like a Marxist organization, but it's true. It was started by like this black lesbian girl for the sole purpose of using racial politics and conflicts to push a Marxist agenda. It is not a black like movement that cares about the well-being of black people. If it was, I wouldn't have a problem with it because I think that every race should be able to organize and advocate for their group interests. If Black Lives Matter was talking about like fatherless homes or the abortion rate or things like that going on within the black community, then they would be talking about real things that are disproportionately affecting black people. But the fact of the matter is that they are not. They are making up this false idea of like police brutality and white supremacy against them and stuff like that, and it's all to like be attributed to anarcho tyranny, you know. So it's Black Lives Matter is not an organization that actually even cares about black people, you know. And then if you have any type of organization that even identifies white people as a group or says that white people have interest, then they're labeled white supremacists. So it's like it's always like a lose-lose situation.
Yeah, no. Do you remember like what was it, Marjorie Taylor Greene and I think a couple other Congress people, they wanted to like create some committee in Congress that to advocate kind of like European ideals, you know, of the founding
Oh
fathers
yeah.
or whatever, and then just the shitstorm they got from that. The shitstorm was insane.
That's crazy. I don't remember that, but
Yeah.
Marjorie Green Taylor has been doing a lot of cringe things lately. I don't remember what she said something like, oh, when Kyle Rittenhouse endorsed BLM, she was like, yeah, show this to all the people who called him a white supremacist now. And it's like, are you kidding me, bro? Like, oh, you're so. And when she apologized because she like, what'd she do, criticize Israel or something like that, and they like got on her for that and stuff. And didn't they?
She said that. Wait, so she said that vaccine passports were like the Holocaust, or like the
Yeah.
prelude
Oh,
to the
and then
Holocaust.
she went to like a Holocaust museum or something, right? And like went on this like
Yeah, yeah,
apology
yeah.
tour. Oh, when will these people learn, bro? Like these people, like they hate you, and once they hate you, and once you are on their hate list, that nothing you do matters unless you completely fold on your values and like conform to what they say, they are never going to let you live it down. Like going back to Mel Gibson, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't said anything bad or edgy or anything like that since that event happened, like, what, 14 years ago? And the joke is still that he's an anti-Semite. You know, people still hate him and call him a piece of shit. Like, you know, so it's like, why even capitulate even an inch? Like, don't give in to these people.
Yep. Okay, so I was talking, how do you call it? I was talking to Joe. I was saying to Jovi, were you actually being genuine? He's like, well, I actually haven't known Spexo you until the event. He's like, I also like what he's saying and posting. And I'm like, but you posted something about him being a LARPer for buying a sweater. And he says, I just don't need to ever wear the cross or Christ's face on my torso to spread the gospel.
Wait, but he needs to wear the swastika. He needs to post pictures of him giving Roman salutes in front of a Nazi flag. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That is,
Oh,
he is not
and also,
Christian.
by the way, I pressed his profile pic. He was actually at the January 6th protest. He was at the Capitol with a skull mask and a MAGA hat.
Yeah, he's the one. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if this is true, but I'm pretty sure he went up to Groyper's at on January 6th or one of the Stop the Steal rallies. I'm not sure, and they like bitched him out and like he ran away crying. I'm pretty sure that's the guy.
How did? That's honestly still crazy. He was just chilling in here, like, I like what he's saying. I actually like what you're saying. It's like and then now I'm like, Spexo, don't do it. Don't do it.
What?
Because I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to lure us into agreeing with him, and he's like, aha, you agree with me.
Somebody in my my YouTube chat said Jovi Val thinks having gay sex is okay as long as it's not interracial. Oh my god, that is like the typical Wignat, and it's so funny because he is like the stereotypical Wignat, like promoting racial science and National Socialism and all this like anachronistic LARPing ideologies. Meanwhile, you're not even white. Like, it's so stupid. Oh my gosh! But what are you gonna do?
Yep.
The eternal Wignat. That's so funny. All right. I don't know. Let's see. I'm gonna unmute everybody else and see who these people are. But if anybody else has any questions, I'll answer questions. If not, I'm probably gonna get going soon. I've been streaming for almost 3 hours. I like this though. I do.
Yeah.
This is like if I have time to do this, this is actually really fun. I like talking to people. It's cool.
Yeah, this has been dope.
You know,
Been
you
great
know,
meeting you guys.
Spexo, yo, Jovi, like, we gotta give him some credit because he covered like what 40% of the stream.
Yeah, he was on for a while, and he kept interrupting everybody too.
I'm so bad I gave him the time of day because, like, you know, there's many times where we talked all at the same time, and I was like, "Oh yeah, go ahead." I should have. If I knew, man, I
And
would
now,
have given him a voice.
and now I think that like, he's probably gonna spread it to his other Wignat friends or whatever. So now we really gotta like vet who we let into the live stream because we're gonna have people like.
Who knows? Maybe someone will join and be like, look, I know you don't like Jovi. We're one of his buds, but I actually like you, and we actually like you. And I would have been like, nope, ban. No, thank you.
Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, like not most of my content, but anytime I talk bad about anybody, I'm talking bad about Wignats and Protestants. That's like the two main people I attack all the time. So I don't know how any of them would ever like me, but whatever. All good. All right. Anybody else have any questions they want to ask me, or I'm gonna bounce? We're good.
No.
Oh, I think. Well, now he's claiming Wignatism is dead, is a dead end.
Wait,
he's like,
you know, hey,
he was like the swastika thing was like 2 years ago.
But he came to the
Static. Just keep reading his stuff. Like, where are you reading from? This is interesting now.
I went on his profile.
Wait, you're talking to him? You're messaging him?
Yeah, on his post.
Wait, he's saying Wignatism is dead, but less than a month ago he came to a Groyper rally and kept calling us grifters and shit.
Yeah, I don't understand that. Anyways, back to what you're saying.
All right. What's his name? Ragnathar Potato says, "How often do I do these streams?" I just started the other day. It went well, so I thought I would do another one. And apparently, for like half the stream, some Wignat infiltrator was talking to me and not telling me who he was, and actually being civil, which is really surprising because he hates everything I stand for, apparently. But whatever. Weird. But yeah, I'm gonna start doing these streams more often. So because I have fun talking to people and like talking all this stuff. But
dude, there's a Telegram channel called Joey Val is Gay. is a gay. Like, I'm dead serious. I'm gonna copy and paste it.
Bro,
Hold
who is this guy? I didn't hear about him until after the rally. Like I never heard of Jovi Val at all. Like
Me
how
neither.
long has he been around?
No
Well, he
idea,
said
dude.
he's probably been around for a while because he
I
said
pasted it
the
on the chat.
Nazi.
Hold on, let me see.
Cause,
Jovi
cause
gay.
he's
Oh no. Oh, this is bad.
I gotta press that. I'm gonna see it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, nice.
Oh my
Nice.
gosh. Just him photoshopped on a morbidly obese naked woman's body.
National Puerto Rican Gay Parade. Oh, he does look Puerto Rican, honestly.
Wow. Oh wow. I don't know if these are real screenshots or not, but there's like there's like screenshots of somebody saying Jovi Val can suck his own blank, and then he comments, "Oh man, if you only
Oh
knew."
man.
Dude,
LOL.
you know what? He was giving me Gypsy Crusader vibes. Like, this dude is
Mhm.
kind of sus, man. He's
Actually, no. You know who gives me Gypsy Crusader vibes? That Martinez perspective. I don't know if you guys know who he is on Telegram.
He's another Wignat.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
basically
really?
the Gypsy Crusader. Yeah, he's a Gypsy Crusader 2.0.
Who's
He's the
Gypsy
same thing.
Crusader?
Oh, well, I don't. The lore goes deep.
Hey, Spexo, you want to stay up for another hour?
I'll do my
Yo,
Google then. I'll do
the
my Google.
whole Gypsy Crusader story is insane,
Filthy
bro.
Frank.
It's a huge
Filthy
redemption
Frank.
arc.
The
Did I
Filthy
come back at
Frank?
just the right moment?
Yeah, this dude.
Yeah, that's me.
Yes, you did.
What happened? Well,
Did I came back at just the right moment?
Gypsy Crusader is
Gypsy
like
Crusader,
like yo, you know what? Honestly, at first I gave him the benefit of the doubt or whatever. And don't get me wrong, him if it was like a setup by the cops and stuff like that, then nobody should go through that or whatever. But like I saw like a couple of his clips and some of them were funny or whatever. But then somebody messaged him and sent me the screenshots of the message that he was like unironically advocating for like violence and like a race war and all this stuff. Like he was calling my friend who was messaging him, telling him like you shouldn't be like advocating for this stuff. I understand if you're trying to do like shock value or stuff like that, but like this is not like a way to like get your message across. And he was messaging you're a traitor if you're not ready to die for the cause, then you could be hanging from the rope with them and stuff like that. I was like, this guy is like a legit psychopath, like, you know. And so I think that
I have
even if he's arrested, he should
actually
be.
met him in real life.
Yeah, he was like a kickboxer or whatever. And then I don't know the whole story. Maybe somebody else knows, but like he got beat up or something, and or whatever. And like I don't know.
Was that a Trump rally?
Well,
and
yeah.
Oh yeah, Sirloin
girl.
Meth Squad interviewed them. So go ahead. What happened?
So basically, he was on Facebook as a conservative, I guess, trying to be some sort of journalist or something. Maybe doing a little bit of Trump supporting on Facebook. Then he goes to, I think he went to a Gavin McInnes rally or a Trump rally, and he gets into a conflict with Antifa, and he was just spewing garbage on Facebook. This basically results with Antifa members throwing bricks into his parents' house and radicalizing him to a point of no return. This is basically what happens where this is what started his what do you call it? What was he going on, Omegle?
Mm-hmm.
This is what started the whole Gypsy Crusader thing. He reached a point of no return,
Mm-hmm.
Full Joker face paint. But this is a guy who suffered a bunch of concussions and some legitimate brain damage. Just to be fair to him, I think there is some mental damage, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. But yeah, that's essentially what happened with him. Go ahead.
Yeah, somebody said that they followed Gypsy back when he was a libertarian news page on Instagram before he went Joker mode. But
he was.
Like I mean, maybe he does have like mental issues. Maybe he does need some type of help, because if he is actually sincere and is like actively trying to get people to like start a violent race war or something like that, then that is not good for anybody. And he should probably be in like a mental institution or something. But I don't know. But
no, of course not.
What is the story of him like I know we got arrested for having like a gun or something, but was that like a total setup or what?
With that, well, the thing is, he was a felon. I think in his past at some point, I think about 10 years ago, he was selling Xanax, so that had made him a felon, and he owned an illegal firearm. He'd gone to a gun show in Florida, trying to get a concealed carry permit to go to a firearms training class, where they was just told him like, you can't legally own a firearm,
Mhm.
and they have that registered. But yeah, he owned I think a sawed-off shotgun with like 100 rounds of ammunition or so. I think he basically got swatted. A little too much trolling, and they just they flashbanged his house. His neighbors said, they reported like at like 6 a.m. or something,
Mhm.
and just brought him out with that. I think he tried to plead insanity.
And I know
I
he,
don't
he
think
got
it worked
he got
out.
sentenced to what? How long? 2
4
years?
years.
Oof.
4 years, I think.
That's crazy. Well, I
He's
mean,
already served a year, I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy.
I mean,
I was
considering
debating.
what he was, I'm just Googling it now, considering what he was facing up to 30 years, so he got off pretty
Really?
And like
nice.
that he was facing some serious time. And I mean, on one hand, it's fun to meme or whatever, but unironically, I just feel bad for him, and that was
Yeah,
always my stance on it.
he's definitely somebody
Like,
you need to pray
I thought it was
for
tragic.
because it is
He is
definitely.
a Catholic. I mean, believe it or not, I do believe he is a
He's
devout Catholic.
a little heresy right now, but we got to definitely pray for him that
He used to be a good person. One of my buddies who's Greek actually knew him in real life, and he was like, he used to be like a good person, like a genuine good person, and he just snapped, like just like that. He just snapped, and it's like it's actually sad.
Yeah.
Like I don't hate him. It's
it was the
sad.
whole Antifa thing that ruined it for him.
I felt like he was depressed all the time, but he was just doing this Omegle thing to hide the fact that he has a lot of issues, and he was just hiding
Seems
it.
likely.
I don't
Sad.
think I don't think it's
because
just
of
hiding. I
his
think that's how
boxing
it
career?
manifested. Like it ultimately manifested into like I'm just gonna go full mask off and say how I really feel. And
Yeah.
It kind of made a little bit of a career out of it because he could do nothing else, at least in his mind.
But now he's fucked. Now he's fucked. Like he's not going to be living a normal life anymore. Like that's done.
Yeah.
Everyone knows who he is.
That was done from day one. Like once,
yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
that's how he felt. Like when if they came after my family, right? I don't know what I would do. And just straight up with you. Like if they're throwing bricks through my mom's window, I don't know what's going to happen. At that point, and I don't know if anyone can say that we necessarily do.
Yeah, I'd probably become a racist after that.
No, that is something. It's definitely something that like could definitely change you and obviously make you snap. And then you also consider he possibly had like mental issues prior to that because of all the fights he's been in and stuff like that. So you never know. But it's definitely a sad story.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason I had like sympathy for him is like my father was like almost the same way to a certain extent, where he got institutionalized at an early age and became a neo-Nazi because he basically pissed off the cop at the age of 14 when he was robbing a convenience store. This is my father, and
wow.
Basically, like my dad was with the Aryan Brotherhood, and I didn't really know him that well.
That's crazy.
But I felt I felt sympathy for him. Like, I mean, I was getting phone calls when I was about 10. Like, my dad telling me son, you got to read the World Almanac. Like, find me 6 million missing,
Oh man. Oh
elves.
no.
And, like I was 10. On one hand, it was.
I was 10. Maybe you shouldn't.
On one hand, I was 10 years old. When he's teaching me about the birds and bees and the Holocaust.
I don't know, man. Your dad sounds pretty base right now.
I just want to go to the
Your
park.
dad sounds pretty base, man.
He was all about Jesus too, and that was the problem for me because I was a young Catholic, and just going to school just going to church on Sunday, being a good boy. My dad's telling me this crazy nonsense, this absolutely crazy absurd stuff, and I kind of threw the baby out with the bathwater because he was talking about Jesus on the other hand. I eventually came full circle with everything.
Man.
That's why I felt bad for Paul, because I feel like my dad couldn't see it. Like, he kind of just blamed all of his problems on the Jews.
Is your dad okay
that's
now?
That's how I felt about Paul. He's dead.
Oh, that
he
sucks.
died 4 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
I miss him dearly.
Did he did he like have a change of heart, or like come like how was your relationship like towards the end of his life?
I spoke with him in 2016, and because he asked me like who I didn't live with him, by the way, like ever, but he called me in 2016 and asked me who I voted for, and this is the most polarizing conversation of my life because I said I voted for Trump, and I asked him who he voted for, and he said he voted for Hillary.
What?
Basically, my dad was an I want to believe my dad was an accelerationist at the end of his life. Is what I want to believe.
So he had like that pipeline just a little slower than some people.
I think, well, because like he basically he was a tattoo artist or whatever, and then like after he got clean again and he kind of repented for his transgressions. He offered free tattoos, free tattoo cover-ups for hate-related tattoos or
nice.
swastikas or whatever. And he basically tried to do the right thing. And I think he had a lot of struggles, but ultimately, I think my dad was a good person thrown into a bad situation, and I think he was able to find peace in the end. I want to believe that because he was a very devout Christian. Very all about Jesus, and
Hey,
it was cool.
what's your dad's name, if you don't mind, so we can pray for him properly?
If you want to just
name.
If you don't, if it's okay, if it's too personal, so it's not.
If you want to pray for,
just give a first name,
like
if you want.
Andrew.
Andrew,
pray
okay.
for Andrew.
Nice.
You can pray for both Andrews.
Everybody,
if you want,
everybody pray
Andrew.
for Andrew. That both Andrews, that his father is in resting in peace and finding eternal happiness, and that his son, finds his way in his life. But I'm sorry for your loss. That really sucks. But yeah,
man,
that's horrible.
Well, I mean, and if I can just, I don't mean to be on a tangent about it, but just to kind of give a nice tie a bow on that story. Is like his death, even though it hurt me at the time, was like a pivotal moment for me into coming back to Christ. So like there was a blessing in that. I firmly believe it. Like because like that basically brought me to a different state, like a literal different state. Like maybe meet his side of the family to get to know him more and know God in a real way. Because I want to know what he was talking about, and I wish we could have had these conversations, when he was still alive. But to really get to know him and to relate to him, like he always told me to read the Bible, and he was telling me like that's how we can connect. So it's kind of nice now. Like now, I'm able to kind of do this and think about him, and just know that like he is with he's with Elvis and Jesus upstairs and my grandma and Hitler. But
oh no! Oh no!
You have to throw that in.
Demonetized.
I'm sorry. No. Well, that's what my dad believes. That's what my dad believes. It's not what I believe. I just
there you go. Yeah, nice.
YouTube.
YouTube is very understanding. Yeah, YouTube is very understanding.
Sarah, I know Sarah very well. Listen, she's a devout Catholic. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm sorry, Sarah. Like nothing I've said about my father. Once again, reflects upon me or respects my friend. For me, we're not friends. We're loosely affiliated. I'm not his friend, But listen. My dad's beliefs are not my beliefs. I believe in Jesus Christ.
There you go.
Who's my Lord and Savior. I might believe. I mean, listen, there are disputes to be had on the. Okay, I'm not going to get into that. The moral of the story is that I do believe in God now, and I have a strengthened relationship with Him, sort of because of my dad's death.
I guess.
I'm sorry. I'm a little just rambling. My bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. But yeah, no, like when you go through somebody's mic is echoing. Oh, there you go. When you go through like traumatic things like that, sometimes like it could switch you to like the worst, and you could end up like Gypsy Crusader. But sometimes it could have a silver lining and lead you to something good. Like I had a similar thing to you, where you said your dad's death led you to Christ. Me finding my friend dead led me to Christ, basically, because I was an atheist, basically, and then I found one of my closest family friends dead, and that like I couldn't accept that he was like permanently gone, and that made me say like, okay, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe there is something, and maybe that was like a coping mechanism at the time. But like opening my mind like that, like basically led me to like do an earnest search for the truth, and it led me to basically changing my entire life. So even though horrible things happen, it could sometimes lead to good things,
Completely agree.
Yeah, definitely. Well, all right. Good chat.
I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to monetize. Like I really didn't mean it. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
You're good. Yeah, no, I feel it.
There's no better way to end the stream.
Yeah,
that was
all
amazing.
Right. I'll all right, guys. I'll talk to you guys later. This was great. See you guys later. God bless.
Later.
See ya.
God bless.
Have a good night.
God bless.
All right. See you guys later. Yeah. Become